I knew how to quit you.
Bond.
And this theme so
James Bond.
There's no place like home.
I'm gonna make him an offer again with you.
Welcome, one and all, to our final episode before the Oscars. So what does that mean? It means final Oscar predictions. So you know what that means. Cue the music. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 92nd episode of Gone with the Wind, the show about award shows where we talk about, you guessed it, award shows. And we are not alone today. We have our very special guests. We have a very special guest, but our other regular panelists are also very special. Our regular panelists that you know that we have, you know them, we love them. We love them, we have our panelists here. We have Malcolm.
Hello.
Welcome, Malcolm. Are you ready? Are you jazzed for final Oscar predictions? I can't speak today.
Yeah, I'm happy.
All right, that's the spirit. We also have Dan.
Yeah, this is the time of the year. It's Super Bowl. Wait. It's Oscar season, and this is the time of the year I look forward to every year, getting to see what gets nominated for the Oscars. And, of course, my predictions are going to be the ones that are right, and everybody else is wrong.
Do you want to place bets upon that? Because
no, I don't have any money. I'm just...
Well, we're not betting individuals. We bet in bragging rights only. That's all we bet in. But we are not alone. We have a very special guest today. And I believe I'd never asked how to pronounce his last name, Dan, but I believe it is. Aha, I was right. So we have a very special guest from Disappointment Media, Sean Bowman. Welcome, sir. Round of applause. Round of applause. This is where I wish StreamYard had sound effects, which it might. I just don't notice them yet. So regardless, we had a little fiasco above hand. I couldn't figure out how to remove people without kicking them out, which we hilariously discovered when I kicked out Dan. So apologies to that, Dan.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me today.
Yes. Hey, Sean, for those people who don't know you, obviously, you are with Disappointment Media, but tell us exactly what do you do specifically for Disappointment Media, and what is your relationship to the Oscars in general?
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Disappointment Media.
Edit.
That was weird. Sorry, I meant to mute myself, not you. So please, Sean, we're out to a great start. Go ahead.
So I founded Disappointment Media with some friends, and basically it is a collaborative where we work with underrepresented writers to help kind of lift and elevate their voices. And so I've done that for about 2 years now. And so I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of that website. And then with the Oscars, it's just always been a passion of mine. I've watched the Oscars since I was a child, and I've gotten better in predicting them to the point where I am better than Dan Skip Allen.
Dan, response.
Well, when you've been watching the Oscars for 42 years, you kind of have less of a percentage of predicting them correctly. So Sean's been watching them a lot less than me. So he might have a better percentage than me.
Well, you have the experience under your belt, though. So it's like
right.
we'll
so
see.
He should be better than he is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, maybe. But what's weird is I can't. We go to a party. There's a art house theater real quick, and we go to this party where they watch the Oscars at them, and then you could do your predictions there. I swear, every year for the last 4 out of 5 years, I've gotten Best Picture wrong. I've gotten so many of the major characters. I studied it so much. I've been getting like shorts right and editing right and cinema, and then I get the Best Actress wrong, or I get Best Picture wrong. Every year, it seems like. Last year, of course, I had Nomadland, so I did good. But the years before that, boy, I was awful.
It's okay. We all have our moments. We all have basically the years where we do great and the years where we do very poorly. I couldn't tell you which years they were because they kind of all blur together at some point of how well you did. You remember the movies, but you forget how well you did unless you do really good, and then you'll never forget that. Um, Regardless, again, thank you all for my panelists for joining us here today. We're going to get right started into our Oscar predictions. We got a long list to go through where we talk about what the contenders are, what we got currently going for, be it below the line or above the line, ranging all the way from Best Picture, the creme de la creme, to something which is still pivotal, like Best Special Effects, or Visual Effects, pardon me. But before we begin as well, I want to highlight one more thing. In the description below of this video, you will find something called Gone with the Wind Awards 2021 in Film. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gone with the Wind Awards are back. So what that basically signifies and that means is that the Gone with the Wind Awards are back and here to stay. Last year, right when I was doing it, we took a hiatus mainly because I got COVID. Literally at the same time that happened. So I did not feel like doing I did not feel like doing a lot of stuff at that time. So we took a break from that, but we are back and ready to rock and roll with the Gone with the Wind Awards. So I would basically encourage you all to go and vote and see what your favorite films are of that year. It'll go through all things, starting with Best Visual Effects, ending with Best Picture, and including one of our own favorites that we came up with, and that's Best Scene of the year. So you vote for your best scene, and then you could tabulate it on Google Forms, and we will all conglomerate it together and see what the nominations are. And again, you will have 2 weeks to do that. We wanted to get that out there right before the Oscar nominations transpire. Plus, you know what? This is the best time to vote and see exactly what you think is the best of the year. We will do the same later. I will do mine later today. I'm throwing in one more movie tonight. 2, hopefully. Drive My Car on Sunday, I'm hoping to get out of the way. So then I can vote because I don't want to vote until I see that. Regardless, are you guys ready to get started?
Yes.
All right. Now that we have that out of the way, actually, you know what? One more thing I want to do before we start that. I want each of you to tell me what is one film or one aspect of a film that you guys think people should check out before they vote in the Gone with the Wind Awards. So, Sean, as our special guest today, I would like you to go first. Tell me what is a film or an aspect of a film that you want people to recognize before they start voting?
Yeah, I mean, it's a film. I mean, obviously, I would love for people to see Drive My Car, but it's not available widely. But in terms of films that are available widely, I'd really recommend A Hero. It is Asghar Farhadi's new film. It's really great, phenomenal film. His best since A Separation, I would say. And also another aspect of that film that's really not getting the recognition it deserves is Amir Jadidi's performance. It's one of my favorite performances of the year, and if there were any justice, it would be in the 5 actors. But fortunately, that's not going to happen. But
yeah, sadly, I can't wait to watch it tonight because that is the next film upon my list, A Hero, before I start to vote. And Dan, what is one aspect of a film or a film in general that you want to highlight before people go and vote?
Yeah, I want people to see the cinematography in Nightmare Alley by Dan Lotson. And right now, Nightmare Alley is on streaming on Hulu and HBO Max. So if you have either one of those or you don't have either one, you can get it. You could do them like a week and then cancel it if you don't want to pay for it after that. I really think you should see the cinematography, especially the second half of the film has some incredible cinematography. But he's done some amazing films. He's worked with Guillermo del Toro before, but the film that I think is just absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous is John Wick 3 that he did, Parabellum, and he's doing the 4th John Wick as well. So, yeah, I wanted to focus on the cinematography of Nightmare Alley, and I think more people should see that film.
All righty. And Malcolm, what is one film or an aspect of a film that you want people to go out and check?
I mean, like for me, it's the French Dispatch. Like, I don't really have a specific thing, but like all aspects of production design and score specifically of the French Dispatch. The French Dispatch is amazing, and it's not getting a lot of love.
That's an excellent pick, Malcolm. my technology hates me. It literally just kicked me out of StreamYard. Ugh, I need to go get my computer upgraded for its RAM. This is ridiculous. Anyway, thank you guys for telling us what you believe to be the best of the year and should be looked at before people start to go vote. The one that I want to highlight real fast is Passing. Passing, to me personally, is one of my favorite films of the year. What Rebecca Hall was able to do with getting the performances out of Tessa Thompson and Ruth Negga for best lead actress and best supporting actress, respectively, as well as that screenplay, the cinematography. Look at that cinematography for Passing, which is to me the best use, with close being Come On, of black and white cinematography this year, personally. It actually has, hot take, it actually has meaning to it outside of just Belfast. Sorry, Belfast.
I agree.
But I think it's fantastic cinematography. Please go check it out and check out the movie in general. It's worth it. And when Tessa Thompson got that BAFTA nomination, I was excited, even though it was probably a jury save. Still, I'm happy it was there. She was there regardless. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our Oscar nominations. Or,
is that your dog?
Don't worry. We will get that all situated. I got that situated. So in case people start to, if we have anything in the background, we'll go ahead and start muting things. Because if someone comes in from my house, I will start to mute things. So just so everyone is aware, if you hear music in the background or noise in the background, just go ahead and mute yourself until you know you're going to speak. All right. So we're going to get started. No offense to the shorts. The shorts aren't exactly something until we actually see them. So we're going to skip right through that. Unless you guys have any hot takes on the shorts you want to talk about. No.
Well, you get the one, the Far From the Tree or whatever it's called that was on Encanto or whatever. That's probably going to win an animated short, more than likely.
I don't think that was actually longlisted. Actually, surprisingly.
Oh, it wasn't.
No, surprisingly, it was the other one, Us Again, which was from Raya and the Last Dragon, I believe.
Yeah, which I like neither of the Disney shorts this year. Honestly, I thought they were both.
Let's pass on those.
I mean,
potatoes.
like for me, I think Robin that was on Netflix is probably going to be out there.
Oh, okay. I need to check that one out. I have not seen too many of the shorts this year. All right, so no offense to the shorts. We're going to move right along, and we're going to go with how Gold Derby has ranking them, because that has all my rankings right here on my phone that I'm looking at. So we're going to start with, of course, the bread and the butter, which Dan and Sean will be conducting a quick discussion right after here, a deep dive that we're going to be premiering tomorrow before the Oscars. So, Sean, tell me, best international film. What do we have currently kind of in the works that you think? What is your predictions? And if you don't have a solid 5, tell me what you believe to be some of the ones that are the top of the pack.
I have a solid 4.
Hey, I love it.
2 for number 5. So the solid 4 that are going to get nominated, without a doubt, are going to be A Hero, Drive My Car, The Worst Person in the World, and I believe The Hand of God. And then I think the 5th one will either be Compartment Number 6 or Flee. A lot of people have a lot of confidence in Flee for international feature, but I don't have as much confidence in it. And I mean, recent years have proven that like documentaries can break into the international one, because you had Collective a couple years back that got nominated. So it's not like that's not insurmountable, but it is an animated documentary, which is challenging for that category. And also the fact that it is being submitted as the Danish submission for the Oscar, because it is a Danish film. But the content isn't especially Danish. And so like that kind of disparity, in that it's about a Middle Eastern immigrant, and I believe he went to Russia at first. It's Russia, yeah. So like the fact that there's kind of that disparity, I feel like it's a challenge. It's not an insurmountable challenge by any means, and I could definitely see it getting in there, but I don't think it's a lot like a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm. So then I'll beg the question quickly, Sean. Do you have Flea getting in any of the 3 main categories it's currently in? You don't have to say specifics till we get to there, but do you have any of them it making into? Okay.
I think it'll get love, just not as easily in that category. I think that one's going to be the most difficult one for it to get into.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Dan, what do you have for best international film? Do you have a lot of the same ones that Sean has?
I have exactly the same ones that Sean has. I made a decision to keep Flea and get rid of Compartment Number 6, that could do me wrong in my predictions, but I'm going to go with Flea instead of compartment number 6. Hand of God, The Worst Person in the World, A Hero, and Drive My Car. Those. I mean, this year I think is one of the most clear-cut years for best international film, and those 5 are really the standouts. And I did not see compartment number 6, which I wish I had seen, but I think it's a late comer on this whole thing, and I think these are the 5 that have been a standout all year, and I think these are going to be the 5 that you're going to see on Tuesday morning.
You say it's the most clear cut, but watch it be something completely different. Like watch us get Yak in the classroom. Which
That movie.
you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen all 15. I've seen all 15.
Okay,
We'll
I
talk
can't
about it
wait for you
later,
guys.
but-
Yes, I can't wait to hear that discussion because that title is fantastic.
It's not as entertaining as you would think. It's a very
Darn.
boring film.
Oh man, I still can't wait to see it just because of the title
Bhutan. It's
alone.
from Bhutan, right?
No, it's
Good for Bhutan.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Bhutan.
Good for Bhutan. Good for Bhutan. Malcolm, what do you have for the international film? A lot of the same ones, I'm guessing, or any difference?
I've pretty much got the same as Dan. I've got John McHale, Worst Person, Hero, Flea, Hand of God.
Do we basically all have? So, Sean, to clarify, do you have compartment number 6 or Flea in that last spot?
I have compartment number 6 in the last spot.
Okay, so we are basically almost besides that one difference. That the international film is almost 5 for 5 for all of us. Okay, that's fantastic. Our favorite Josephine DeMarco says compartment number 6 and A Hero tied for that at Cannes. What she means is the Grand Prix winners tend to do well with getting in international film. I did not know that, so that was actually a fun factoid to know.
No. Compartment number 6 did do very well at Cannes. It's okay. I personally prefer Flea a lot more. But like it's good, and it's also lighthearted versus like the other ones. The other 4 in the category aren't very lighthearted. Worst Person in the World is like half lighthearted, half not. And same thing for Hand of God. Like it's like half and half. But like compartment number 6 is not a very dark film at all. And so like I could see that being like the one that's like the happier movie in the group. So I could see that being something that also helps it get in.
Well, man, I can't wait to see compartment number 6 then. I got some international titles that I gotta crank out. I've been seeing documentaries left and right, but I need to take the time for international film, and I'm excited for that. So best international film at the end of the day seems to be kind of clear cut and dry, but until ultimately when it's not. All right, so we're going to start off with the next one, best documentary feature. So Dan, what do you have for best documentary feature?
I'll tell you right now, I've seen a lot of documentaries this year, but a lot of them don't seem to be in the conversation for best documentary. I've got 3 that are kind of the mainstays and it's going to be one of these 3 that's going to win. And I got 2 outliers that I added because it looks like they're doing good on Gold Derby, so I just threw them in. I got The Rescue, which is my favorite documentary of the year, one of my favorite films of the year. Summer of Soul, which looks like it could win this whole thing. And Flea, we just talked about that because it's animated, it's a documentary, and it's a foreign film. And I got it in here. And a couple of these outliers that maybe people that have seen these, which I have not, is Procession and Ascension. Those are the 2 that I have in my 4th and 5th. Velvet Underground, I saw. I mean, I see that doing better at the BAFTAs and than at the Oscars. Also, Billie Eilish is one that I really liked a lot. It might get in here, but I don't know. You know, this is a category you cannot like put your finger on what these people are gonna do, because they do the most outlandish things and put the most outlandish films in. Cousteau's another one that was really good. I liked. Julia was another one that I really liked, but I don't know if some of these are going to get in. So I just put in my predictions Procession and Ascension. And I think Procession is on Netflix. I don't know where you can find Ascension. So if
Ascension is on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, so I can watch both of these before Tuesday then.
Procession is quite good.
Okay, I might actually watch these two then before Tuesday. That way, at least I kind of have an idea. But yeah, that's my 5. But my
Yeah.
prediction, I'm really rooting for The Rescue to win.
I was about to say you are probably in good hands along those lines. Procession is it's a very different type of documentary. I won't spoil too much upon that, but I would just highly recommend that because it is an emotional gut punch of a film with dealing some heavy themes.
I do think it's formally might be a bit too weird to get into the 5 though.
That's what I was thinking because I don't have Procession currently in right now. But before I hear that, Sean, what do you have? Do you have a lot of the same ones? Obviously, no Procession. I don't believe.
Yeah, I mean, I do have Procession as like an outsider. I have a lot of the same ones, but I have a 5th one that I'm really upset is probably going to make it because it's a very terrible film. But the I currently have Summer of Soul in the top spot. I think that's got a good chance of winning, but also there is also a chance to get shut out because like in previous years we've seen a lot of things get cut that were like perceived front runners. Like Apollo 11 was like considered like the very front runner, and it was a pure.
Won't you be my neighbor?
I mean, yeah, but that's more mainstream versus like
it's
Apollo.
so good.
It's very good, but like Apollo 11 was considered like the front runner that year, like the one that everybody thought was going to win, and then it didn't even get nominated. So the Academy does, like the documentary branch of the Academy does tend to have a lot of issues with archive documentaries.
Yep.
Which is what Summer of Soul is.
Yep.
So I think it's claimed enough to get it, but I also would not be surprised to see that one get cut out. I do know that Flea and The Rescue are pretty much locks to get nominated. I think that if Summer of Soul doesn't get nominated, Flea will probably be the clear winner in that case. But the other two I have Ascension. Even though I've not seen it, I've heard it's very good. And then the 5th one that I absolutely despise is The First Wave. I think that that's going to get a nomination. I think it's a terrible manipulative film, but it's timely and there are better COVID documentaries like In the Same Breath came out this year as well and is phenomenal. But The First Wave is the one that's probably going to get the nomination, sadly.
Where can you see that on again? I know it's on one of the streaming services.
I believe it's on Hulu.
Hulu. The first wave.
Wave?
Is on Hulu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's
it is
Neon
on
and
Hulu.
Nat Geo. I think it's on Hulu. But in terms of things that could like come in from outside, I could see Procession coming in from outside. I could see Velvet Underground coming in from outside. Attica is another one that I could see coming in. That's very good. It's great, but it's Showtime as well, and so I don't know like how much. I've not seen a lot of effort put into them before in the past. They seem to be doing a bit more campaigning this one. Like I've seen like ads on like IndieWire and stuff, but I feel like the buzz just isn't there on that one. So I think it'll probably be the 5 that I said.
Quickly, Josephine also says Summer of Soul got in for editing at BAFTAs. Which doc this year would you nominate in editing? Summer of Soul, like just the what they were able to do with the archival footage, as well as creating some great going against the grain of just talking heads, quote unquote, and actually adding them reacting to it, so you get to watch it along with them and see their reaction. It's like it's a beautiful it's a beautiful what's the word I'm looking for? Duality. It's a beautiful duality of having that going back and forth with the archival footage, and as well as tying it into what was going on culturally at that time period. It's brilliantly edited, and I think it should be in the mix for the conversation, at least for best editing of the year, in my humble opinion. What do you guys think for documentary? Malcolm?
I mean, like we talked about that when we talked about the BAFTAs. His last documentary to get in for editing was Hoop Dreams back in '94.
I mean,
so
that was also the movie that changed the way documentaries were nominated in the Oscars.
Oh, did it? I didn't know that.
You don't know that story?
No, I don't.
There used to be a process where documentaries were nominated by putting all of the documentary branch members in a screening room, and they would flash their flashlight at the screen when they got bored or didn't want to watch any of the rest of it. And Hoop Dreams got turned off in like 20 minutes. and so that's why it didn't get nominated.
Hoity-toity people would watch about a couple inner kids,
Wow.
kids trying to be
Yeah, that got them some very bad heat. That got changed. I mean, the next one that needs to be changed is international, because that is also an issue. But yeah, so
Did not know that. I learned
Malcolm,
something new.
Go ahead, finish what we were saying.
Please. Yeah, what'd you say, Malcolm? What was your pick for documentary editing?
That was Summer of Soul was my pick.
Oh, excellent choice. I agree. So Dan, what about you? What was a pick you could have
For what, editing?
for documentary? If a documentary this year could be an editing conversation, would it be also Summer of Soul?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's I mean, I like the editing in The Rescue as well, because they really cut between like animatics. They cut between redoing some of the scenes. They film some of the scenes over. They reenact some of the scenes over. Then you have the archival footage. So they edit between all that and talking heads pretty well. But Summer of Soul is just great editing. Great editing.
Mm-hmm. And for Sean?
Yeah, I don't think there's another documentary that would break in editing other than Summer of Soul. I actually didn't like Summer of Soul that much the first time I saw it. Like, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. And then I watched it again during voting season, and I'm like, okay, I see what everybody else likes about it. I mean, I'm a big music documentary person. And so I had a lot of issues with a lot of the talking head interviews that were in Summer of Soul.
Oh, wow.
I think without them, it would have been a lot better. But
really? Wow.
I did appreciate it more the second time I saw it, for sure.
Fascinating, because that's what the talking heads and the mixture of them watching it and seeing their very human reactions, that's what sold it for me. Interesting. Oh, I love that. I love the dichotomy.
Have you seen Woodstock?
I have not seen Woodstock, no.
It's one of my favorite films of all time. Great film that shows what you can do with kind of like that type of footage that's just like the footage of the event, without the need for modern talk. I mean, then it was the same period, and there were a couple of interviews that were talking head, but like without having that crutch of that form of storytelling.
Fair.
I think, I don't know. This is good. Like, it's very good, but it's not my favorite documentary of the year.
It's not your favorite. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I completely understand that. So Malcolm, what about for you? What do you consider to be back on track for best documentary? What is the 5 that you currently have?
It's pretty much the same as then. I've got Summer and Soul, Flee, The Rescue, Ascension, and Procession. I'm not a big documentary person. Like, I watched Summer and Soul today because for me, it may have been on Hulu for everyone else. It was Disney Plus for me. I was like, I'll check this out and see what it is. It was good. But I just don't try to search out documentaries to watch.
That's fair.
Citizen Ash is another one I saw that, who knows? It might get in. I doubt it. But
yeah,
no, that was not in this long list.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do a good job of releasing that one, though.
Oh, okay. That wasn't.
It wasn't on the list, but it didn't. They didn't. It was a good movie, but they did not do a good job of releasing that one.
Oh, okay. I don't remember what was on the list. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. And that's the thing. Like, I really enjoy these long lists, so it kind of helps us figure out what's going on. But it also, it excluded some of those. It's like, well, I love that one. Why did that get excluded? But I understand that.
My favorite doc of the year was not on the list. So
that's how it is usually. For me, no, I think I have Summer of Soul, Flee, The Rescue. I think we all can agree upon those are some of the 3 that are in the top spot at this point. I have Ascension, and then this one is purely I could go with Procession. But the only thing it's so different and kind of strange for typical documentary that I think that they might go with this. I don't know if they're going to go with this one. I want them to go for it. It's my favorite documentary of the year in the same breath. I think it is a wonderful documentary. I saw it at Sundance last year when it first came out, and I was just like, this is phenomenal. I wish this is in the Oscar conversation, and now it is. And I'm just going to hold on to a prayer that it somehow can get in there over the first wave, which I do enjoy, actually. But I do think in the same breath is a far better COVID-related documentary, or just documentary in general.
Is that the one in China? Is that the
yes?
Chinese?
Yes, that's
yeah.
I do agree in the same breath as a significantly better film. Like it is significantly better. It's like night and day. But I think that the challenge that one's going to have is that one's released by HBO. And so you might have voters thinking like, why isn't this running for Emmys instead of Oscars? It's a TV documentary.
Which is why this is mainly me just kind of being stubborn and wanting to. This is my one pick that I have where it's not going with logic, but merely going with heart. This is my one heart pick, even though I know I'm going to get this wrong at the end of the day. But she was here before for what's her name? She was here before for One Child Nation. Yes, she was here before, so perhaps they will like her again. We'll see. All right, moving right along to Best Animated Feature. So, Malcolm, tell me, for Best Animated Feature, what are the top 5 that you have? We have seen a regular 5 with most things, but perhaps they could be different for what your top 5 are. What do you have?
Well, at the moment, what I have is Luca, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, Raya and the Last Dragon, and Kanto. And this 5th spot is one that I am considering changing closer to Tuesday. I'm still kind of flip-flopping on it. But I think that 5th spot's either going to be Flea or Sing 2, because Luca, Mitchell's, Raya, and Kanto and Sing 2 are the ones that have been coming up to spend everywhere.
Yeah.
But as we kind of said many times during this, like sometimes there's always that one sort of indie one that comes in, sneaks in here, and I think if any is going to sneak in here, it's going to be Flea.
I agree 100%. Dan, for you, do you agree with most of that stuff what Malcolm was saying?
I do agree, but I still don't think Flea's going to get an animated. I just think if you look at the other like the editors, the Annies, all these other branches, the only one that's different because they only have 4 is Baptist. These are the 5: Mitchell's, Encanto, Luca, Sing 2, and Raya. They're the 5. They're getting in all the different guilds everywhere. I mean, I would like to see Flea get in, and there is usually a foreign film in there. But I think because of and this is like a broken record we've talked about, it could get into documentary. It could get into foreign film. I think they're going to try to want to put something else in animated, knowing that Flea could get in other places. And they're not going to want to put it in 3 different places, even though it could get in 3. And I'm not saying it would be my 6th. If they had 6 spots, it would be my 6th. But I got these other ones.
I find it interesting because I know we just talked with Sean. Sean, you have it missing international, but I'm guessing you have it in animated, correct?
I do have it in animated, and the reason why I have it in animated is because of the reason for the film to be animated. I think that it is an approach that is based in emotion, that will achieve an emotional reaction from from Oscar voters. And the reason why it is animated is for the safety of the subject. Obviously, it would be dangerous for him to go on camera talking about this experience in a regular format, like a regular live action format. And so I think that a lot of the Oscar voters are going to recognize that and nominate it because of that. I do think that the winner is hopefully going to be The Mitchells versus the Machines. I think it's an overrated movie. I think it's good. I think it's funny. I think
that was just like a punch of like, I want this to win, but it's overrated. So it was like, oh wait.
I think it's funny. But I mean, if I had to pick out of the ones that are going to be nominated, I would say Raya and the Last Dragon is the best of the 5 that are going to get nominated. But I think that Mitchell's has the best chance of winning. I think the last 2 spots are going to be Encanto and Luca. Both of which I do not like very much. I like Luca more than Encanto, but if there's going to be an outsider, it would either be Sing 2 or Belle. Belle was picking up a lot of steam for a while, and then it just kind of died because it's not good. But
oh wow, hot take.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Yeah. I didn't like it. I didn't like Belle.
I didn't like it either.
I like raving about it the last couple of weeks. I was like, what did I miss something here? You know, they love the music. The music's not bad. The music's okay. I just think it's just all over the place. The film as a whole is like all over the place.
Well, we'll get into a review for Bill at a later date because I have not seen it yet at this time. It hasn't come near me. Come on, something, anything. Yeah, no, I think we are mostly all in agreement upon those lines that we have like a solid 4. But if there was like a 5, I'm guessing we all have Encanto, Flea. No, wait, no, sorry, Dan, you don't have Flea. So I
No.
guess we can't really agree on the top 4 then.
The
If that's
4, no, the 4 would be Mitchell's, Encanto, Raya, and Luca. Those are the 4.
no, I still have Flea getting in. I think Raya misses at the
I
end.
think
of
a
the
lot
day.
of people have Sing out.
What's your
I think
fifth?
I'm the only one's got
It's-
Sing in. I think I'm the only
no,
one
I have-
Sing in.
No, excuse me. No. Apologies. No. I have Sing. I need to adjust that. I think Sing 2 isn't going to make it in. So apologies. My first list was right. So it was Encanto, Flea, Mitchell vs. the Machines, Luca, and Ryan the Last Dragon. I forgot about Sing 2 for a second. So I don't think Sing 2 is getting in.
I'm the one who's got Sing. Everybody else has got Flea. Right?
Yes.
So that's the only outlier.
I do
That
like
is true.
Sing a lot. I think it's a great film that is very underrated.
Yeah, and like honestly, for me, out of those 5, I actually think Encanto's the better movie and the one that could win.
Interesting.
Just I mean, purely for the fact that it's going to be fresher in people's minds, because both Mitchell's and Raya came out really early in the year, so it's going to be interesting to see how that, because there has been cases of recency playing into this, because
That's true.
Spider-Verse came out about this late
It was November
one.
that year.
Yeah, so that was probably
No, it was December.
Yeah, so that was the most recent animated movie that year, and that ended up winning. So whether or not it happens again,
You also have the popularity of Encanto. It's blown up on social media.
That too.
We don't talk about Bruno. Dude.
No,
Just
not
don't
here.
bring up Bruno because we don't
Well,
talk about Bruno here.
Dan, you just brought up Bruno. Like you just
Oh,
brought up.
shoot.
So Silencio, Bruno. Silencio.
Look, Bruce Willis will return as Bruno. I'm calling it now.
Oh, Bruce Willis will return.
What the heck? Number 1 song in the world, guys. The number 1
Yes.
song on billboards.
It was
I don't know how.
absolutely a mistake for Disney to submit the other Encanto song instead
How
of that.
stupid can
In
they
their
be?
defense, they did not know it was going to blow up on TikTok.
I mean,
which-
that is fair. And they submitted the ballad, which has worked for them time and time again. But that ballad is very forgettable. You could not ask me to recall that ballad.
I mean, to be fair,
Good song.
I mean, I'm not sure what the next one is. It might be a visual song anyway, but they might have submitted a few songs for that.
Bruno
Oh,
didn't
they
even
did.
get submitted.
They only submitted one because Disney's there. They were, I believe they were afraid. Personally, I think they were afraid to like what's the word? What's the term
Cannibalize
to like?
each other's votes.
Yes, to cannibalize each other. I think they were afraid of their songs doing that, and so they want to guarantee at least one.
Yeah,
And they
with
picked
the
the
big
wrong one.
name, with the big name people in song. I mean that makes sense because there's some heavy hitters in song.
Anyway, I think we're going to get into song later. So
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
we'll get into song. Yes, we'll get into song in a sec. So quickly, we're going to go to the next one, which is best visual effects. I will go ahead and start us off with this one. What I have currently right now, we can all say at the same time, Dune. There we go. That's your winner, everybody. I'm like more than confident that it's going to be your winner. But the ones, it's basically Dune, and I think you're going to have Dune, Godzilla versus Kong, Spider-Man No Way Home, so it gets one nomination at least, No Time to Die, and then Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I have one of the big frontrunners of Matrix Resurrections missing, based solely upon the fact that I feel like that has been incredibly forgotten at some point, but it is my 6 at this point, and I think that Shang-Chi has been getting a lot of love. Godzilla vs. Kong has the monsters. No Time to Die has Bond and has been making it in a lot of the tech categories recently, and even though it's very minimal CGI, look at some of the previous nominations in 1917, in Tenet. The ones that don't have a lot of CGI, they tend to make it in regardless. But yeah, and then Dune, it's Dune. So what are you going to do? Sean, what about for you for visual effects? I know you don't have a straight 5, but tell me, what are you thinking besides Dune? We all can agree Dune's probably winning this, but what are your other thoughts on this category?
I mean, beyond Dune, Spider-Man is probably a lock. I can see Shang-Chi being very likely, unless if they kind of hesitate to put both Marvel movies in. So
Same.
that's the hitch I could see. I see Matrix getting the love there. No Time to Die is another, like, you make a very good point there. Ghostbusters maybe could be
Could get
something
BAFTA.
that could get in. I don't think Godzilla versus Kong will do it.
I don't think so.
I don't. I mean, they might throw it a bone because it was the movie to bring theaters back.
That's what I
like,
think. Just because
I can see it for that, but other than that, I don't know. That movie, nobody is talking about it anymore, and so that's
Sadly.
why I think. I don't know. I think it'll get left out.
I'm gonna go check. Did Kong Skull Island or first Godzilla get in for visual effects?
don't
I will.
Think so.
I'll check that. But Dan, what do you have for visual effects? While
I have obviously Dune, Spider-Man, No Way Home. I do have Matrix in here. I think Matrix is going to get in this category. For the Marvel movies, they always put one in, but I think we might get two this time because I think Shang-Chi is going to get in here. And then I have, instead of Godzilla, which I think I would have Godzilla 6 if there was 6 places, and I have Free Guy because basically the entire movie is a CGI fest, and it's pretty damn good looking if you ask me, and it's a good movie too. So I have Free Guy in here instead of Godzilla, but I mean I would not be surprised at all if Godzilla versus Kong got in here.
Yeah, Skull Island did get nominated. Godzilla did not. And I think that since this one is, I don't know, it is closer to Godzilla in terms of visual effects than it is to Kong Skull Island. I mean, Kong Skull Island is a beautiful film. Like, it is absolutely
visually
gorgeous.
stunning.
Loved it.
Visually stunning.
I didn't feel the same way about Godzilla versus Kong. I mean, it's still fun. Like, it's cool. Big monsters are awesome to look at, but like, I don't know, didn't have the same effect on me as Kong Skull Island did.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And now, actually, you bring up a great point, Dan, with Free Guy. I'm pretty sure that that's appeared in almost every visual effects precursor. I could be wrong, but that's also a very visual effects heavy film. Malcolm, do you have Free Guy in your 5 at all? And what are your 5 in general?
So even though I don't like saying I've got this here, but because I wasn't a big fan of the visual effects, Dune is getting in. But I've also got Shang-Chi, Free Guy, although that is one that I'm kind of hesitant about. Not so much because it's gotten in everywhere, but it's one that I could see maybe the Oscars branch look at as like, this is almost animated with live action people thrown in there. So that could be something that might sway them away from there. I've got Spider-Man No Way Home. I've got Ghostbusters Afterlife. Like Matrix Resurrections, I do think it's a good movie. I think if I'm not mistaken, it missed out on BAFTA for visual effects.
It did get in. It got in.
Okay. But I mean, it's once again, visual effects is one of those ones, like, there's so much there that I think could get in. It's really hard to pick a 5 out of the short list. I mean, this is one that you could potentially, like, if they really love the visual effects and all the MCU movies that were there, because I think if I'm mistaken, like, I think Eternals, Shang-Chi, No Way Home, and Black Widow were all on the shortlist for visual effects. So if they really like those visual effects, you could get 4 Marvel movies in Dune. And
you could. You could. I don't think
it's going to happen.
No.
That'd be funny though. It'd be like, wow, it's Dune and the Marvels. But yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Sounds like a rock band. Dune and the Marvels.
Dune and the Marvels. That does, doesn't it? So yeah, anyone other have any thoughts on visual effects? No? All right. Perfect. All right, moving right along. This is for best sound. Again, everyone say it with me. Dune. Yes, we're gonna say Dune is the beginning of almost every craft category, so we're gonna make that a recurring thing because I think that's one in most craft categories, if I'm not mistaken.
Although,
so
I don't know. I feel like there's an outside chance of Dune losing in sound.
oh, okay. So I'll start. So Sean, we will start with you. You say there's an outside chance of it losing in sound. Tell me then, what do you have above Dune?
I think Dune will probably win it. But I could see West Side Story getting it instead of Dune. I don't like that movie very much at all. But musicals do tend to do well in the sound category as well. Musicals and war movies are kind of what it goes to most of the time. But I mean, Dune is the front runner this year. But I could see West Side Story pulling it, like pulling ahead. I mean, there are no war movies this year really that I can think of that were major contenders. But I do think that I think No Time to Die will get in because Skyfall tied for sound that year, I think.
It did.
So
Ooh, good callback.
yeah, so I think No Time to Die could get in. A Quiet Place 2, maybe, because A Quiet Place did so well with the sound categories. I could see that. Although that one also wasn't really in the conversation for a whole lot, but it was one of the first big movies of the pandemic. So I could see them throwing that a bone as well for like the politics of it. I could see, another musical, Tick Tick Boom, could possibly get in because, like I said, musicals. You could have action movies like Spider-Man: No Way Home, Matrix. But I do think that your main three are Dune, West Side Story, and No Time to Die.
That's a very safe pick right there. Dan, do you agree?
Yeah, I have the same three: Dune, No Time to Die, West Side Story. I have in my 5 Belfast, and I wanted to put A Quiet Place 2 in there, and I'm by Tuesday morning maybe I'll switch Belfast and A Quiet Place 2. Who knows? But I do have Power of the Dog in here because there are some things in that film that really stand out when it comes to the sound, and that's like the comb, the whistling, and stuff like that. That stuff really stands out for me, and I think that could be kind of stuff that could get Power of the Dog in here for sound. But I'm debating on Belfast and The Quiet Place too, because Quiet Place won sound. It did.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, do I want to put? And I'm kind of debating on that right now. But I do have Belfast in its place instead. So, but I have them 3: Dune, No Time to Die, West Side Story.
No, that's fair. Malcolm, what about for you?
I've actually got correct then. A Quiet Place did not win the sound category when that came out.
Oh wow!
Because that was in the year where it was separated between mixing and editing. And both of them went to Bohemian Rhapsody.
I forgot.
Maybe you got nominated then.
It got nominated.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yes.
I hate. Oh God! Don't get me started.
More evidence for West Side Story overtaking Dune.
Idea.
I mean, I don't consider Bohemian Rhapsody musical. It's a music movie, not a musical. But that being said, for me, for best sound, I've got Dune. I've got No Time to Die. I've got A Quiet Place Part 2. I've got Spider-Man: No Way Home, and I've got The Matrix Resurrections. I actually don't have West Side Story because this is one of those ones that. Because both editing and mixing are combined together, because I think the musicals do well in one side when they get nominated, but they don't do well on the other. And I think when they're looking at combined sound, the musicals could end up missing. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what I've gone with.
We're going to find out because we haven't had many years. Like this is the second year, if I'm not mistaken, where we have had a combined category.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I do think that
just looking at.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying. Just looking at last year, like there wasn't any musicals that got in for sound last year. So, I think there's probably one or two.
Were there any big musicals last year though?
I don't think so. Soul? No, Soul's not. Never mind. Soul's not a musical. My brain was like Soul. No, that's not right.
No, I can't think of any big musicals from 2020.
Rocket Man from 2019.
What?
But 2019 had Rocket Man. That's the closest thing.
Right, but I mean, I can't think of any from last year that were like super memorable. You know?
If there are, we'll do a double check upon that. But I have mostly the BAFTA 5, save for I have Dune, No Time to Die, Quiet Place Part 2, namely because of the recognition. And they're gonna, I think honestly, people who vote for that will be like, oh, hey, this had good sound. I love the first one. This one had a great sound because the sound is a character in that one in of itself. I have West Side Story, Quiet Place Part 2, No Time to Die, Dune, as I said. And for that last one, instead of Last Night in Soho, I'm putting in The Power of the Dog at this point because that is very memorable sound and is a character in and of itself. The fact that Belfast missed at the BAFTAs, which considering it did very well in and of itself there, and it's a very, it's I was about to say very British. It's not. It's an Irish film. It's in that region. It's in the UK area region. I did it again last year. Last episode, I made a mistake in trying to define where each thing was. I don't know the correct terminology. Guys, help me out. Apologize. You know what I mean, right? It's in that. It's in the BAFTA world. We will say that along those lines.
The British Isles, Great Britain.
Well, it's not Great
Ireland,
Britain. It's Ireland.
Wales.
Yeah, we'll go with that entire thing of Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, the UK in general. I don't know terminology. Anyway, apologies. Moving on. I think The Power of the Dog. The Belfast showed weakness in the sound categories, and I think it's going to propel itself forward with The Power of the Dog, just because I think that's going to very overperform that day, just based upon what I've seen so far. I'm kind of hoping it overperforms. But if not Power of the Dog, I think you might get a Tick Tick Boom, mainly because that also has appeared in a lot of the craft categories when it comes to sound and the guilds. But at this point, I still think it's Quiet Place Part 2, Power of the Dog, No Time to Die, West Side Story, and Dune. All right, moving on to the next one real fast. Now we may talk about Best Song. So guys, there's no Dune in this category, so we can't say Dune at the same time. But Malcolm, what do you have for the 5? I'm pretty sure you have No Time to Die.
But yeah, I think Dune will get in this category somehow. They'll quickly write a song for Dune now.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, no. I've got No Time to Die. Because all the Craig Bonds have been nominated. Well, at least most of the Craig Bond songs have been nominated.
I don't think Casino Royale did. Was it?
I mean,
no, it's just half of them have. So basically, Skyfall, the Spectre, and most likely this one. So it's more than half.
Wasn't the Quantum of Solace one nominated as well?
No.
I don't remember the Quantum of Solace one, but I also don't remember Quantum of Solace.
Good.
I actually like Ulmerich in that. I thought he was a good villain in that, but that's. You didn't like Matthew Ulmerich? The subject wasn't that great, but he was kind of fun.
But yeah, I've got Encanto in here because there is always at least one animated one that does get nominated. I've found. I've got Be Alive from King Richard. I've got Right Where I Belong from Brian Wilson, Long Promised Road, because there's always a weird outlier that comes out of nowhere. Yes. And I've got Here I Am Singing My Way Home from Respect.
Okay. So I'm guessing we're going to have 3. That's what my prediction is. 3 that we're all going to agree on. Dan, do you agree on most of those?
You know, at least 3. My thing is I hate agreeing with Malcolm on anything.
Ouch.
But
wow.
I don't want Encanto to get in here because it's the wrong song. So I want them to protest getting the wrong song in there. So I want Encanto out of there, and I want the big name people in here. I want Ariana Grande. I want Beyonce. I want Jennifer Hudson. I want Billie Eilish. I want the big name. I want to see these big superstars stand up on that stage and sing their songs. That's what I want. And I want the guy singing the song from Belfast. You get all these mega stars, and you get the guy from Van Morrison from Belfast.
Okay.
his
Okay,
song.
but here's the thing about Belfast. That song is very similar to another song that he put out like many
He
years ago.
edited his own song and changed it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
And
his own
so,
song.
like,
It's his song. He just changed it
Yeah.
a little bit to fit into the movie Belfast.
but I don't think that that's going to get a nomination because of it. I don't think it's original enough
You could be right.
to make it into the original song category.
You could be completely right. We could get a husband and wife in here. We could get Jay-Z in here for Harder They Fall, and Beyonce for King Richard, which would be cool, having them compete against each other, But
Yeah.
I have a feeling Malcolm is right. We're going to get that damn song from Encanto in here instead.
That's
And
great.
I'm like,
I
no.
actually love that song.
I like it, but I want, if you get a song that's number one in the world and you nominate the wrong song, you should pay the consequences for that, if you ask me. But hey, what do I know?
Another hot take. Sean, what do you have?
Yeah. So I do think that the winner is either going to be Alive or No Time to Die. So King Richard or No Time to Die. Those are my top two right now. Number three, I've got Dos Oruguitas from Encanto. I think that that's the third one. I think four is probably going to be Just Look Up from Don't Look Up. I think that one's pretty safe as well, even though I know the Academy's had some issues with comedy songs in the past. So I don't think that's a lock, but I do think that it's safer. And then for the fifth spot, I think it's either going to be Guns Go Bang from The Harder They Fall or So May We Start from Annette.
Is that Sparks Brothers?
Yeah, Sparks.
That is.
Yeah. How interesting. How about that, Sean? Just real quick. I'm just go off on a side tangent. If Sparks Brothers get into song and they get into documentary,
I was not shortlisted for documentary.
They cannot get
never
in.
mind, forget about it. Oh, there goes that thought. Forget about it. I forget what's in some of these shortlists, but it's too bad because Sparks Brothers wasn't a bad documentary.
It's a great doc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right,
But it'd say that you say that Academy's had issues with comedy songs before. They nominated Husavik last.
They did.
I mean, but that was a serious song in a comedy movie.
Yeah.
Like that was the serious song in the comedy movie. Like,
It was kind of tongue in cheek, though, slightly with the nature of everything.
a little bit, but it's still like it was the moving, emotional song in that movie. It's not like they nominated Double Trouble from Eurovision,
True. Or
Eurovision
Wuhan,
Eurovision should have gotten a song in.
But
Well, I think
they did get Husavik.
They did.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Yeah. Yusufik got nominated last year.
Oh yeah. No, that song
but-
was deserving. That was a good song.
Great song.
Great movie.
But funny enough, you mentioned Borat. I'm pretty sure the Borat song was on the shortlist for the Oscars last year.
It was. It
So
was.
it could have
They
made
didn't
it
get
in.
nominated.
I think I predicted it that year just because of the absurdity of it all. And I'm kind of
I
glad
really
Husavik
thought it was
made
going to
it.
get in.
Yeah.
I really thought it was going to get in just because of it being crazy.
Yeah,
But don't we want the
exactly.
big name people? I mean, because everybody's they got all these people singing songs. Can't you see the procession of Beyonce, Ariana Grande, Jennifer Hudson, Billie Eilish stepping out on that stage one by one, singing their songs? Don't you? I think
The
that's
only good
cool.
singer out of those four is Billie Eilish.
It would be good. for
Whoa,
ratings,
whoa,
though,
whoa,
that's
whoa, whoa,
it.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa, whoa. No.
Yeah, I disagree with that. But it would be good for ratings, to be
Yeah.
fair, if they did all of those big ones. But I mean, it would also be good for ratings for them to put Encanto in because Lin-Manuel Miranda is a huge megastar as
How
well.
many
And so-
nominations is his film's going to get? That's going to be a kind of a side thing to look at.
I mean, he's
because
still
got-
he's got the Emmy, Grammy, and Tony. He just needs the Oscar.
He's got a
Not
lot of
this
shots
year.
at it this year. He's
I
got a
don't
lot of
think.
shots at it this year.
No,
Well,
I
I
think it's either Beyonce or Billie Eilish.
Well, in
No, you're
saying
right.
that,
I have
like,
them as my one and two.
if Tick
Yeah.
Tick Boom wins something, like depending on what Lin-Manuel's involvement in that category is, he could get his Oscar that way. So I mean, He's got. This is one of those years. Like he's got 2 movies in which he's heavily involved in, whether it's song or behind the scenes or directing, that could get him that Oscar. It doesn't have to be a big one.
True. I will say though, if he ever is going to get an Oscar, I think it more than likely, as amazing as the directing I personally thought in Tick Tick Boom was, I think his Oscar is probably going to come from song or score. I feel like that's his most likely thing. But also, we have a statement from Josephine. I wonder if it is possible, since they submitted the wrong song, that the song from Encanto doesn't get in. I mean, maybe. They're like, I don't like this one. This is not. I don't know if the voters are like, oh, they're so involved in the sphere of we don't talk about Bruno that is currently popping on the charts. They might just see the Disney and Encanto and be like, oh, I'm gonna throw it on here. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
Because I mean, it's one of those ones. Because I remember when Coca came out, like. Remember Me was nominated, and I think once again, there was a conversation of, was that the right song from Coco to be nominated, because that was a very forgettable song considering it was called Remember Me.
No, false.
No.
Did that win now?
Did the wrong version of that song. They submitted the Poppy version of that song instead of the.
Wait, did they?
Yeah. I mean, it's the same song. They performed the version that was like the more poppy one, versus the one that was just like intimate and emotional.
Yeah,
they did submit the wrong one. Then wow.
I mean, same song.
It's still one. It's still one.
Still, but
yeah.
Interesting.
Let's move on.
Yes.
On time. Let's get the score.
Yes. We will get. Moving on to score. So for best score that we have right now. Everybody, say it with me. Dune. No, Dune's getting nominated. That's the one we all can agree on.
Oh, Dune. Oh,
Dune.
Right.
I think that again, tech category. It's going to make an appearance almost in every tech category that it possibly can, besides original song. So I have for myself right now, I have Dune, The Power of the Dog, The French Dispatch, Don't Look Up, and for the last one that I have, because I think it's going to do really well in the sense that it might win its Oscar, I have Encanto at the very last one, the very last pick that I have. So Dan, tell me, which of those, besides of course Dune and Power of the Dog, I know we all probably have that, which ones do you currently have getting in?
I have Power of the Dog, Dune, Don't Look Up, French Dispatch, and I have No Time to Die in score.
It's an excellent choice. Why No Time to Die?
I just liked it. I mean, I obviously we get the song at the beginning, but there's also a good score throughout the movie that I think really, in some of the more dramatic scenes and some of the more actiony scenes, we have the score. I kind of like the score of No Time to. I don't know.
I think the difficulty in that one is going to be the fact that it would be a double Zimmer. Same thing for why Spencer would be a hard time, because then that would be Greenwood twice, Yeah,
but Greenwood has 3. Greenwood, but was he shortlisted for all 3 or long?
No, he was shortlisted for Spencer and Power of the Dog.
But he actually had 3 this past year. But
he did.
What was the other one he had?
Licorice Pizza.
Pizza.
Yes. No, that did not get shortlisted.
Yeah. So, but Spencer's just dying a slow death, it seems. So I don't think Johnny.
Everybody in the Academy hates that movie.
Like, I don't get it.
I hate that movie. It's not good.
Well.
I mean,
as somebody who's a huge fan of Pablo Larraín, I did not like that movie very much.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, as someone who didn't like it either.
That's the only thing about No Time to Die. We'll get a double for Zimmer, and I think Zimmer hadn't won. Quote me if I'm wrong, since Lion King, I think, and he's overdue for a second one. I think Desplat's won twice in the last 10 years, right? Or
has he?
Or he might have been. I mean, it seems like Desplat's been nominated like every year, and Zimmer can't get a second one. Give me a break. I think Zimmer's going to win.
I think Zimmer's going to win it for June.
Yeah.
But you never know. He might get him twice.
But yeah, Desplat won twice. He won for Grand Budapest and for Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. That's it. That's what I forgot he won for. All right. So, Sean, tell me, you had mentioned which ones that you think are going to happen. But tell me, what are the ones you were in the conversation we should keep an eye out for, or an ear in this case?
I agree with both of you on the main four: Dune, Power of the Dog, French Dispatch, Don't Look Up. Those are the four that are definitely getting in. For my five, I have King Richard because of Chris Bowers, very great composer, composer. Also, the composer that will add a bit of diversity to the lineup.
Oh yeah,
because everybody else is a white man, and so I feel like that would be a good change of pace rather than giving a second nomination to Hans Zimmer.
That's fair. Malcolm, what about for you? What do you have for the 3 in original score?
So for me, I've got The Power of the Dog, The French Dispatch, Dune, No Time to Die, and Encanto. And I mean, as for the double nomination, it's actually not that impossible of occurrence that there's been double, like last year, for example, there was double Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And when Desplat won for Grand Budapest Hotel, he was also nominated a second time for something else.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll shy away from it.
You're not putting your eggs in the basket of Zimmer double nominated,
Right.
basically. That's completely fair. Which I will add then real fast is that the only reason I'm not bullish upon No Time to Die in score is because it missed BAFTA, and it got in like in almost every craft category in BAFTA, except for score. That's why I'm personally like, even though I think it's deserving, I think it's a fantastic score. It's probably one of my favorite Bond scores that I've listened to.
Yeah.
Final Descent. Ugh, that is so poignant. But like, that's why I'm backing off upon it personally.
I have to think about that before Tuesday morning.
Yeah. I mean, it's like for me, I just don't want to manifest in the Don't Look Up getting nominated because I don't remember the score for that.
It's
Rochelle, who is my favorite composer for film.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yeah.
Moonlight, Beale Street Could Talk, Vice, Big
Oh,
Short.
I'm not saying the composer's
Second.
not good. I'm just saying I don't remember the score specifically for Don't Look Up.
I know you don't care for Don't Look Up. I see the score is one of the few things about that movie that I don't mind, and I hate. Moving on.
Moving on. Best production design.
Yes. Moving on right now to best production design. Currently, we have right now. Everyone.
Dune.
There we go. All right, keeping that joke going until it dies a horrible death. Dune is probably the one that's going to take this, but I would look out in what could be its sole nomination. I don't have that to be the case, but Nightmare Alley, I think, is one we should look out for when it comes to at least being like number 1 or number 2, 3, what have you. So, Sean, what do you have currently for the production design? What are some ones in the conversation?
Yeah, I think Dune's going to get it. Obviously, I think that's going to be a winner. Nightmare Alley will get nominated. West Side Story will get nominated. The one that I think is going to get its sole nomination here will be Cyrano. I think that's really that might get into the makeup and hairstyling as well, and costumes as well. But like Cyrano, I could see like even if it misses those other two, it should get into production design. The last one I have going to 2 that are very stagey. Either French Dispatch or Tragedy of Macbeth. I think one of those 2 could get the production design. Will be the 5th spot.
Mm-hmm. I am almost 5. We're almost 5 for 5 on there. I find that to be hilarious. Literally, we're 6 for 6 though. I will say that. But anyway, Dan, what do you have?
Yeah, I got Dune, but I think right on the heels of Dune and possibly overtaking Dune is the French Dispatch. That production design is incredible in that. I mean, incredible in the French Dispatch. Nightmare Alley, West Side Story, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but the production design is pretty good in that. Cruella is one you gotta kind of keep an eye out in production design because as an outlier, the settings of the 70s, that punk rock kind of feel setting of that era of London, the cars and the clothes and the buildings and the backdrop of what they're doing. But what I would love to get in here that I don't think is going to get in is The Last Duel. I want The Last Duel in production
was great.
design because I think that I felt cold. I felt like miserable in that 13th century France that this movie took place in, and you could see like the sheep and the things in the background, the moving of the baskets, the people walking around. I really thought that set looked great, how each of those scenes was designed and whatnot. And it made it look more authentic to me. And I would love The Last Duel to get in there. But I do have Cruella in there as of right now with those other ones. But French Dispatch is nipping on the heels of Dune, I think.
He does do great in production design. Malcolm, what about for you? What do you have for the 5 for production design?
I mean, I think we can all agree there was so many good movies with good production design this year.
Yes.
For me, I've got Dune, West Side Story, French Dispatch, Nightmare Alley, and Belfast.
See, okay, so interesting. What I'm looking at right now is Belfast. Did Belfast make it in for? I'm trying to look right now. Again, the only reason that I'm hesitant on Belfast, even though I know it's considered the front runner, is mainly because, again, it missed BAFTA. And every time it missed something for BAFTA, it should be the bread and butter for BAFTA, that movie. But it missed that. You could be right, though. You could absolutely be right, and I could be overthinking it right now. I personally think it's going to be... basically, Sean and I are 4 for 4. Dune, Nightmare Alley, West Side Story, The French Dispatch. But instead of Cyrano, I do have The Tragedy of Macbeth because I think it's going to cap out at 3 nominations on my list that I have right now. And this is one of them because the cinematography and production design kind of go hand in hand to me for that film. But that's what I believe to be the case at this moment. But yeah, no, I think... Wait a minute. So does that mean French Dispatch? Do we think is 3 nominations are probably what it's going to get, right? 3 or 2?
Score and production design, I think, will just
Production
be
design. Okay. I'm trying to think if I had it in costumes. I'm going to find out real fast because it made it into BAFTA costumes. All right. So that's what we have for production design. We're going to move right along to now. I have to get up my Gold Derby costume design. Oh, did I skip one?
Yeah, because there's makeup and hairstyling, then film editing, then costume.
Now, I have best makeup and hairstyling next. Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Why does mine have costume design before makeup and hairstyling? Well, I already have costume design up. We'll go ahead and go with costumes. That was weird. Gold Derby, Daniel Montgomery, or what is up there? But for costumes, what I have right now, this is not Dune's to win. Surprisingly, I think.
But Dune's in there.
Oh yes, Dune's in there. Okay, say it with me. Dune. There we go. Again, have you run that into the ground yet? It's Cruella. I think Cruella is the number one, mainly based upon the flashiness. I love Cruella. Like
changing the costumes are just some of the best parts of the movie.
It is. It's that montage is fantastic. Like I was so entertained just by the costume, the ingenuity of the costumes. I love that. I got Cruella. I have Dune. I have House of Gucci, West Side Story, and The French Dispatch. I do have French Dispatch in here for costume designs. However, that's kind of my outlier pick. I actually looking at it right now. I'm actually, you know what? I'm switching it to Nightmare Alley, which is it's the costume design 5 outside of House of Gucci, besides Cyrano. So Malcolm, what do you have for costume design?
For me, I've got Cruella, House of Gucci, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story.
Okay. So Dan, what about for you?
I got the exact same 5 as you guys.
Really?
Wow. I guess I'm going to be the one who's different.
Tell me, how are you different?
So, I mean, I have winning Cruella. I think that Cruella is going to be the winner. I agree with you there. Hopefully, I have Dune and West Side Story. I think that those 2 will get in, and then I think my last 2 are going to be House of Gucci, and Spencer. I think this will be one of the categories that Spencer gets into because it's Jacqueline Duran, who is a very well acclaimed costume designer, and so I think that she's going to get that 5th nomination. Even though the Academy does hate Spencer, I think it'll be there. Outside chances, Nightmare Alley and Cyrano are the ones, but I think that Spencer is going to get that 5th spot.
And I want to comment on what Sean said. I was thinking the exact same thing he was, except for the fact that Spencer is dying a slow death, and the fact that Spencer does have a part of the movie. There's a subplot about the costumes, about the things she has to wear.
That's true.
It's kind of like a subplot in the movie. It's like, dang it, I wanted to put Spencer in there, but then it's been dying such a slow death, and I'm like, I'm gonna knock it out.
I think it'll get in. I think it will.
I might change my mind before Tuesday morning.
You're right. She just won 2 for Little Women.
Yeah. I think she'll get it. The nomination. I don't know. A lot of people don't have her in their predictions, and I think they're underestimating it.
I gotta see, who do I knock out though? That's the problem. Who do I knock out?
You're right, because she basically got in. She was double nominated for 2017 for Beauty and the Beast and Darkest Hour, which that's kind of incredible. She's been nominated almost subsequently for every movie that she's done recently. From what I'm looking at, again, don't hold me to that, but okay, not every. She didn't get it from Mary Magdalene. Sorry, she did that movie back in 2018.
Yeah,
nobody even saw Mary Magdalene, so that
no. Wasn't Joaquin Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix had a great year that year. He was in 4 movies that year.
It was not that one though.
Jesus is one of the 4 roles he had. He had a good year actually.
But yeah, I don't know. I have her in. I think she'll get that last nomination. She's not going to win. I think it'll either be Dune or Cruella. Hopefully Cruella. But
Cruella that needs this.
But I think that'll do that.
No, and I do agree with what Justin was saying, is that both the costume branch and the score branch can be very cliquey, and what they like to nominate. Yes, score branch in particular, I've known to be very, at least I've heard to be very cliquey. I would imagine.
Back down to best makeup and hairstyle now.
Yes, we're about to go back down to that, but I'll just end by saying that I would not. Sean, you may have convinced me to put Spencer based upon Jacqueline Duran alone, but we will know. I will. I have until Tuesday.
Yeah,
Monday night.
Monday night. Yeah,
that's an excellent choice. All right, best makeup and hairstyling. We have The Eyes of Tammy Faye is what my number 1 is right now. But I'm gonna hold off because there is a second. I have a number 2 right now. I think we can all agree. Dune. So, Malcolm, what are your 5?
So I've got Dune, House of Gucci, Nightmare Alley, The Suicide Squad, and The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
All right.
Interesting.
I have 4 or 5. And quickly from Brian Nussbaum, he says Cruella is a lock for makeup. Sean, do you agree with that statement? Is that in your 5?
I do not agree, actually. I don't have that in my 5. I think number 1 is going to be House of Gucci for Jared Leto's Parmesan cheese skin and olive oil blood.
Nice callback.
It's in there. It's in the 5, Sean. It's in the 5.
I think it has a chance of winning. I think Dune is obviously going to get nominated for the Stellan Skarsgård and Dave Bautista group.
Yes.
That was phenomenal. That worked. I think that Eyes of Tammy Faye will get makeup and hairstyling nomination. I think that either Cyrano or West Side Story will get in. It'll be one of the 2 musicals. I'm not sure which one it'll be. And then my 5th spot, that would be my 5th spot. My 4th spot is one that I think everybody is underestimating. That is definitely going to get nominated, and it's Coming to America. Because it's the original one, I think, didn't it?
Yes. I have that too.
This is definitely getting nominated.
The barbershop scene alone having those guys play all those different characters, and him, the Jewish guy. You got to put Coming to America in the mix here, I think.
Yeah, I think Coming to America is getting a nomination too. I think that if it weren't for House of Gucci and Dune, that it would even win. But I think House of Gucci and Dune is going to win.
I think Tammy Faye wins this running away.
Oh,
I don't
think
agree.
it's running away. Oh, we're going to find out.
Away. Tammy Faye wins this running away.
Disagree. I think that's your turn.
Do you guys want to place a bet upon that? Place bragging right bets? Bragging right bets. We're not placing bets.
I don't want enough money. I don't want to lose any more money.
I will bet that a movie where one of the actors is changed by makeup and hairstyling will win.
Well, you win, Malcolm.
I still think it's going to be House of Gucci.
All right.
Yeah,
I-
I don't see
That's
it.
fair. I
This
think
is
it's gonna depend. Yeah. Josephine says they do love old age makeup. They do love old age makeup.
I mean, just going back to, I was just going to see, yeah, Coming to America didn't win when it was nominated for Best Makeup
Oh.
that year. It
Oh,
lost to
didn't it?
Beetlejuice.
Okay.
It lost to Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Oh,
Okay,
Um,
I mean that's a good thing to lose to though.
But going back, I think there could be a chance Cyrano could get it because back in 1990, a French version of Cyrano de Bergerac got nominated for Best Makeup.
But that was also, I mean, the original Cyrano de Bergerac tale is about a guy with a long nose.
Yep.
And I like how we both made that
Yep.
hand gesture. But like that's what the makeup was nominated for. Was for that.
Didn't-
That's not the
didn't
case here
they-
in this movie.
No, didn't they add hairstyling later? If I'm not mistaken, like it was just makeup for a while, correct? Or has it always been hairstyling?
I'm
and
not
makeup?
sure about that. But I mean, the hairstyling in Cyrano is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to discount it that. But I think I don't know. I think it'll either go to that or West Side Story for that fifth spot, like one of the two
Mhm.
musicals.
I will say it would be hilarious if the Suicide Squad won again for makeup. That would be kind of hilarious if that was the case. I think it's 6 personally, so it could be. It could be.
I could see that being like 7 for me. I think 6 is whichever musical doesn't get nominated.
That's true. And for me, it's The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Dune, House of Gucci, Coming to America, and Cruella. I think that based upon just the fact that if Cruella's going to win costuming, I want to see it maybe get into one more, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It's not necessary upon it winning. I don't think it has to get nominated to win costume design. I just think it's going to bring in at least one more thing because the makeup and hairstyling is a part of the costumes, and I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Man, I love Cruella. As
yeah.
trashy as it is.
It's not trashy.
The
It's
category
fun.
was
I like
The last 30 minutes are kind of like where we kind of go off the rails, I will say, with the entire
Disney
subplot.
Story. It's a Disney
Trashy's
story.
the wrong word. But anyway, Malcolm, go ahead.
The category of was known as Best Makeup from the 1960s all the way to 2012 when they incorporated the hairstyling in.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thank you.
And I mean, just on the note of Cruella, because it was mentioned in the comments, I don't think the makeup and hairstyling was remarkably good. I mean, it was good, but I don't think it is good enough to become up against changing actors into a different person using
Prosthetics, you're right.
Yeah, because I mean, there's at least 3 or 4 that we've mentioned, like the Suicide Squad, Tammy Faye, House of Gucci, and Coming to America, that all do that. And personally, I think the makeup effects in the sequel to Coming to America is not as good as what they were in the original, which is why I don't want it to be nominated.
I agree that they're not as good. I think it's only enough to get a nomination. But I think that it's still going to get the nomination.
Dan, did I ask you what your 5 were?
A while back. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
I
on
couldn't
Tammy
remember.
Faye, Cruella, Dune, House of Gucci, Coming to America. Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm on board with you guys, except for Malcolm here. So we're good to go.
Perfect.
Let's get on to best editing.
No, I agree. With all that in mind, we're going to move right on to best film editing, my personal favorite. It can be the worst category, Bohemian Rhapsody, or it can be the best category, Dunkirk. See, 1 year from each other, one of the best and one of the worst. Oh, we love to
But
see
let's say our favorite word. Dune.
Dune, everybody. Dune. And I currently have this at number 1 at the moment. But Dan, what do you have for? I'm guessing you have Dune at number 1. But I
Yeah,
could
I have
honestly
Dune.
see it doesn't necessarily mean I don't think it's locked. I don't think Dune is locked in editing as some of the other craft categories. But what do you have?
Yeah, I have Dune, Belfast, Power of the Dog, Don't Look Up, West Side Story.
All right. Okay. I'm
And
curious.
I think you could add like a Spider-Man No Way Home as a potential for editing. Because there's some because when spoiler when you're doing the rings, like when Jacob Batalon's doing the rings, you see in the background you have characters in alleys or on top of buildings, and then So that kind of editing is really flashy because in the foreground you have people in a room, and then you have people in the background within those rings. That's some really interesting flashy editing to be able to fit all that together and make it look good.
True. But they did also that in Avengers Endgame, and that got nothing but visual effects, I will say.
Right.
Because remember the big portal scene, the
Yeah.
big famous one that's still fantastic, and I love that scene so much.
It's a great scene. It's a great scene.
Still, like, ultimately missed. And I don't think Spider-Man No Way Home, if there's going to be a flashy one that's more of akin to like the winner of a previous year, like a Bourne Ultimatum or The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, No Time to Die, I think will fill that spot. But I don't think it's making it in personally, based solely upon the fact that listen, Skyfall and Casino Royale both got BAFTA and Ace Eddies, but they both missed at the Oscars at the end of the day. I don't know why they have against that. I think it's great editing, but I don't think it's going to make it in. But
when you're dealing with 3 Spider-Men flipping around trying to knock out 5 different villains, and to make that look good, that is some damn good editing.
They did have to cut around a lot of things. Sean, what do you have for your 5?
Yeah, so I have Dune as number 1. Number 2, Don't Look Up. Number 3, West Side Story. Number 4, I think will probably be either Power of the Dog or Belfast. But the one that I think is going to get in that's kind of undersung, which is an intentional pun, is Coda. I think that Coda could get a nomination, and I think I think the scene that really sets it apart is, have you guys seen Coda? I assume?
Yes.
The last scene where she's auditioning and she's singing and doing the sign language to the song. That is one of the best edited scenes in any movie last year.
Ooh.
I think personally.
Right,
I could see No Time to Die upsetting and getting in over like Coda or Belfast or but I think that Coda is a pretty good pick for this one.
No, you're right. I think we mentioned
good-
this a while on one of the episodes that Coda could get into editing because of the sign language and the talking and the back and forth between people. That is some damn good editing. We actually did mention this a while ago. I can't remember exactly when we mentioned it, but we did mention it.
That would say that's an excellent point, and I'm thinking I didn't even think about that. That would be an excellent choice. Malcolm, what about for you?
So my number 1 is Power of the Dog. I've got Belfast, I've got Licorice Pizza, I've got Dune, and I've got Don't Look Up. I am considering switching out Dune for No Way Home, but I'm just, I mean,
Bold.
there's, well, I want to be bold, but there's, like, I do agree with
There you
Dan that there was a lot of good edited sequences in No Way Home, like especially the fight between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, for one, because I mean that whole frenetic editing is done really well. But yeah,
Were they in the mirror dimension?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That was well edited. I will say this is the one where I kind of scoured the most, as much as I possibly could. I don't have West Side Story making it into this, mainly because it's missed Ace Eddies and it has missed BAFTA. No film has made it in that has missed both since Dallas Buyers Club made it in back in Lord knows whenever that was. And that made it in based upon the fact that you had someone like Matthew McConaughey that was going to be steamrolling for that entire season.
I mean, my counterpoint,
Yes.
Oscars editing is not really an editing award.
Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of people talk about it more as like a precursor for like the movie that's getting the acclaim.
Popularity contest.
There was a while where it was like whatever won editing won Best Picture, is what
Not
people
true
said.
anymore.
Like that's what people said though.
Yes, they did.
But which it was proven wrong many times. But like, I don't know. I think West Side Story has enough acclaim, even though it's not good, that it will get into the editing with the nomination.
I just have a hard time seeing that based solely upon the fact that if it's not getting the industry support that it needs. Now, granted, yes, of course, like there are some reasons, like it didn't get screeners out in time for something like SAG or whatnot. I just, because it's missed out on mostly anything like besides like DGA or PGA, a lot of below the line things, and the fact that it missed Ace Eddie's and Tick Tick Boom got in above it, you're right. It could be completely popularity, but I also have West Side Story in my predictions not having a great day. Spoiler alert, we'll get to that a little bit later. I would be shocked if it made it in, but it could totally make it in. There is precedent for that, which is why, like, you know, I think it's going to be the exact 5 that Malcolm has said: Dune, Power of the Dog, Belfast, Don't Look Up, and Licorice Pizza. But the fact that Don't Look Up also missed BAFTA, and the fact that they gave it to Hank Corrin for Vice, they literally gave him the BAFTA for Vice, but he missed out for Don't Look Up. I'm hesitant to that one, but it's just so flashy and in your face that it's hard for me to not pick that. And I don't know what else to pick unless I have to go with the traditional West Side Story. This is one I've picked apart a lot, so I can't exactly say, yes, this is what's going to happen. There's probably going to be an outlier at the end of the day, but these are the 5 that I'm semi-confident with. But no, that's what I have for film editing. So wait, does anyone have Licorice Pizza besides Malcolm and I?
No.
No. Okay. And I'm only going with that based upon the fact that it got in BAFTA and Ace Eddie. And I'm probably going way too deep into the statistics upon this one because I love the category so much. Yes.
I hate the category so much. It's a bad
no.
category. I mean, it should be a good category, but just the things they give it to are embarrassing sometimes.
Well,
Like
I mean,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
We
We
don't
don't even want to get into that.
We don't talk about that. There was an entire episode of this podcast where I went on a rant about why on earth they wanted to give it to a trash something like that. Because listen, even if I don't care for some of the winners, I'm never like, wow, that's a trash movie you guys gave that to. That's the first time I've ever been, that's a trash movie that I've seen anyway.
I like Bohemian Rhapsody, actually.
It wasn't
I
an
don't think it's
awful
a
film.
terrible
It's
movie,
just-
but
yeah.
the editing is terrible.
Yeah, the editing is bad.
Yeah,
I'm on the, I hate that movie with a burning passion.
Well,
So
man,
that's me.
my big bugaboo is that they forget about Rocket Man completely, forget about everything
Yes.
about that. And it's like and Bohemian Rhapsody is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like, what, did you not realize Rocket Man
No.
isn't as good, if not better than so that's my whole thing. But we don't want to get into all that.
Yes.
Let's get into cinematography.
Anyway, no, I was about to say we're gonna go right into best cinematography. Last time we're gonna say it because it's the last craft. Dune. There we go. All right, I'm gonna start us off. We got Dune. This might be one of the most clear-cut 5, 6, maybe. We're gonna have Dune, Tragedy of Macbeth, Power of the Dog, Nightmare Alley, and I think this last spot might be up in the air, but I have, because based upon the fact that it's the front runner, I have Belfast. So Sean, do you agree?
I have the exact same 5 with West Side Story potentially uprooting Belfast.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
exactly what I have. The same exact thing with Belfast at 5, but West Side Story potential as the 6th that could get in there. All depends how well they want to represent West Side Story. And if it represents, it's going to get into categories like this.
I will say, though, that I do have a 7 that could come from behind and steal things. And that would be Licorice Pizza. Because it's gorgeous 70 millimeter photography,
Yeah.
I could definitely see that coming in and stealing the day.
Good.
I also
I don't
like,
think it will, but I could see that being like a long shot, like a very dark horse.
I also like The Last Duel, but I mean, the cinematography in The Last Duel is great. It's not going to get in because they're just not going to put it in anything. I think its best shot is production design, but I don't know about that either. But yeah, these 5 seem like the 5 right now.
Malcolm, what about for you? Do you have that as the 5?
I've got The Power of the Dog, Dune, Tragedy of Macbeth, West Side Story, and Belfast.
So
Okay.
the only one you don't have is Nightmare Alley. So
Okay. Again,
Dan Watson has been making the rounds.
he has.
I think he's going to get in here because he's been making the round. He's been doing interviews all over the place. This guy is like a guy that you never see this guy out and about. You never see cinematographers out and about trying
Besides
to get
Deakins.
buzz up. And Dan Watson's been doing stuff, man. He wants to get in. He wants to get in here.
Don't forget Deakins, Roger Deakins, that man. That
yeah,
was
Roger Deakins. Yeah, well, he's
Sir Roger Deakins. Excuse me.
He's the
He's now
goat
Sir.
as far as we're all concerned.
Agreed. So I think we're all in agreement. This is kind of a package deal. It's between these 6. With I don't know what else could come out of nowhere, but it's one of these 6. I think we're all in agreement to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So let's move on to best original screenplay.
I'm already on it. So best original screenplay. We're gonna start with original.
Okay.
Best original screenplay we're going to start with. So best original screenplay, Dan, go ahead and tell me, what do you have? This is another one that I think is kind of locked up at this point, honestly.
Oh,
like,
I disagree.
For original screenplay. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of... No, yeah, original screenplay. No, please, yeah, go ahead, Dan. I'm curious.
I got Licorice Pizza, Being the Ricardos, Belfast, King Richard, Don't Look Up. Those are, I mean... That's the 5, because if you go look at the Writers Guild, what
you won't look at Writers Guild because they're kind of out of they're remember basically half the movies were ineligible, so I'm not giving too much credence to the Writers Guild this year personally.
But this is the 5. I think this is pretty much what you're going to get, and I think you're going to get a Licorice Pizza win for PTA. I think it's going to be his first Oscar win.
That I do think I agree with that. Before we get to Sean, because I know you definitely are in disagreement, I'd love to hear what that is. But first, Malcolm, what do you have?
I've got the exact same 5 as Dan. I've got Don't Look Up, Licorice Pizza, Being the Ricardos, King Richard, and Belfast. And I mean, if this is the 5, I think Being the Ricardos could win because the Academy does like Sorkin.
Well, not the director.
He's not an Oscar for screenplay yet.
But
he won for Social Network, right?
So
I'm pretty sure.
So he's got an Oscar. PTA doesn't have an Oscar, so I think this is PTA's best shot at an Oscar he's had in a long, long time.
Which we'll get into the winner later. But Sean, you are adamant, sir, that this is not locked up. So I'm curious, how much of what we have that you have, and what do you expect to be? I'm guessing.
I agree with the top 4. I think that it's Licorice Pizza, Being the Ricardos, Belfast, and Don't Look Up.
Okay.
Those are the 4. The 5th one is Mass. I think Mass is going to get it. There's a lot of love for Mass.
Sean, don't do this to me.
He loves Mass.
I love Mass too. But I think there's a lot of love for Mass among writers, and I think that that'll edge out King Richard. It's possible that King Richard gets in. I have King Richard as my 6. And then as my 7, I have Come On, Come On, because 20th Century Women did the same thing where it was the sole nomination for that movie, even though Come On, Come On is not good. But Mass, I think, is going to be your number 5. I'm very staunch on it. I think that Mass, I really think that Mass has that chance of getting that nomination.
If you are right, I am going to be so ecstatic. Do you think that's going to be the lone screenplay nomination? I know what we'll get into that in a second. Well, I know what you're doing.
You got to look at it. Sometimes in these screenplay categories, you got to look at the best picture contenders. And if something is a best picture contender, which King Richard is, and with Will Smith and whatever, I think you got to find places you could put King Richard. And I think this is a good place to put King Richard as giving it some nominations.
I mean,
that's why I got King Richard.
King Richard has a good screenplay, and it's a crowd pleaser, and I think it could get nominated. But I don't know. I think Mass is a very theatrical screenplay. It is a brilliantly written screenplay.
It is.
It is. No doubt about it.
I think they're gonna go for it.
Okay, that's fine.
Sean, if you are right, sir, I will be. I'm gonna be like, hey, Sean called it, and I'm so glad that he got it right, because I would love that. I just don't have the guts at this point to do something like that, because it has missed. Literally, I mean, critical. It's gotten a lot of critics group wins, but nothing big, major. I would utterly adore it though if it made it in. So I'm holding out. I'll let Mass be my 6 at this point. But I love the guts that you have shown there. So moving on to, go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I think arguably what people are saying at the moment is the big front runner for this category is Belfast, because that was the one everyone was saying is the one that was because of missing it. Why is good? People were shocked by that.
Well, because it was ineligible is the thing, and that's why the Writers Guild. I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of faith in the Writers Guild much now.
Yeah.
Because why would you do that?
Yeah, no.
Writers Guild?
What is meant is that I know there was an article I was reading when Wise Girl came out, like because they rattled off a whole bunch of the movies that were ineligible. Then they said like the two big Oscar front runners for both adapted and original, Belfast, and we're getting to adapted now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, we all know Power of the Dog was ineligible for the WGA. But right now, okay, so because we ended with Sean, I want to hear what Sean has for this one. For your 5, sir, what do you have for these 5 for best adapted screenplay?
Yeah, so I think that number 1 is the one that's going to win it. It's going to be Power of the Dog.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like the movie, it's going to win it. Oh, I hate the movie. Terrible. It looks pretty, but I didn't care for the movie. Number 2, Drive My Car. I think this will be a pretty good area for Drive My Car to get in. It's my favorite screenplay of the year. It's my favorite film of the year. But I do think that one has a good chance there. The rest I don't think are as strong. I think there's Dune is going to be in there. I think Lost Daughter will be in there. Last spot I could see going to Coda. I could see going to Passing, even though I absolutely am frustrated with that movie. I don't think it's a terrible movie, but it makes me very angry. West Side Story and Nightmare Alley.
Sean, you've sent me on a roller coaster of our genuine shareable love for Mass, and then suddenly your dislike for Passing, my 1 and 2 of the year. How could you do this, sir?
Passing, the ending of that movie makes me so angry. It just makes me so angry because of its implications.
Fair.
The thematic implications it has are problematic. Like, it is probably the most problematic ending I've seen of any film this year.
Interesting. I did not get that whatsoever, but I'm so curious as to the. We'll talk about that at a later date because I know we have to get going situated upon that because it is the ending, the implications that they have, be it ambiguous or whatnot, are really fascinating. Regardless, to me personally. Anyway, so Dan, what do you have?
Power of the Dog, Dune, Coda, The Lost Daughter, Drive My Car. Those are my 5, and those are the 5 I'm sticking with. And Jane Campion, she's going to win for The Power of the Dog. I would love to see Dune win this, but I don't think it's going to happen.
All right. Well, it's made it everywhere besides Power of the Dog. I think Dune is made everywhere where it needs to. WGA. Well, we don't talk about WGA. Malcolm, what do you have?
I've got Power of the Dog, Coda, Dune, West Side Story, and Tick Tick Boom.
Ooh, interesting.
But I am considering maybe switching out Tick Tick Boom because Drive My Car got into the WGA, did it not?
No, Drive My Car. You said, right?
Yeah,
that wasn't eligible. Of course it was.
Everything good was ineligible, right?
I thought I saw it in a screenplay category somewhere, but maybe it wasn't WGA.
At this point,
it
might have been BAFTA.
It did. It made it into BAFTA.
But yeah, I mean, my main reason for switching Tick Tick Boom out is because I don't think we're getting 2 musicals in here. But it's just one of those ones that I didn't really have any idea what to switch it out for when I was looking at it early, just before going live. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that West Side Story has a good chance of getting in because it is Kushner, who is beloved. So I think I currently have that as my 6 right now. I could see that knocking out either Coda or Dune out of the 5.
No, I agree. I think that is the 6, and this one is definitely there are more options, but they're kind of more top heavy, if anything. Yeah, I think as much as Tick Tick Boom would be a really cool inclusion, but we'll have to see because I also have Power of the Dog, Coda, The Lost Daughter, Drive My Car, and Dune. Dan and I are simpatico upon that.
Did Lin-Manuel write the screenplay for Dune,
No.
or was it someone? Oh, it wasn't.
Or Tick Tick.
Yes,
Tick
Tick Boom.
Yeah, he did not.
No, he did not. So no Oscar for him.
I'm now trying to imagine Lin-Manuel Miranda writing the screenplay for Dune.
It'd be a musical nonetheless. All right, we are down to the actors, director, and the picture. So we're gonna try to get through these as fast as we possibly can. So we're gonna have best supporting actor. I'm gonna start with you, Malcolm. Malcolm, who do you have, and why is it Troy Kotsur and Cody Smith-McPhee?
Because I mean, arguably they're probably the two front runners, but they've been popping up just be everywhere at the moment. But yeah, for supporting actor, I've got Cody Smith-McPhee, Troy Kotsur, Jared Leto, Bradley Cooper, and just because he got made an appearance at the BAFTAs, I think he could come up again. Jesse Plemons.
That's an absolute possibility that could transpire if they really love the power of the dog. Dan, what do you have for best supporting actor?
I have right here, obviously, I mean, Cody Smith-McPhee. If he doesn't win this, it'd be an absolute tragedy. Troy Kotsur is nipping at his heels. It'd be wow, what a crazy upset that would be. Ciarán Hinds, I think, of the Belfast boys is looking good now. Everybody knows this. It's not a secret. I would love Ben Affleck to get in here. I loved him in The Tender Bar. And I mean, it seems like Bradley Cooper's been getting in places, and it's like, really, Bradley? I mean, and I've been chipped, and I've been saying this like a broken record. He won our guild, which I cannot believe he won our guild.
You love that point.
I don't understand how he won our guild, but he did. So that's just based off of that. I've been putting him in this.
I mean, he won a lot of other guilds too, though. So
you know,
he got a SAG nomination.
If I had my druthers, I'd love to see Ben Affleck get in here. I just have a God. I want him to get in. But Ciarán Hinds, Cody Smith-McPhee, Troy Kotsur. Those three are like.
What was that sound effect? What do you have against those poor people, Dan?
No, I mean, they're the locks. They're just the no-brainers, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting. I mean, I love the Oscars and I love the Academy Awards and I love this time of season, but I don't like the exact same thing we're getting week after week after week and all these different things. I want some variations, and so I'd love to see like a Ben Affleck get in here and say, "Oh my God, Ben Affleck got in! Wow, what a!"
I mean, you could argue the BAFTAs wasn't exactly the same as we've had been.
No, that's true.
Best actress and those categories are just wild. They're just wild. I don't. That's out of left field. Those are left field. The BAFTAs sometimes can be just weird. But yeah, I'd love to see Ben get in. I just have a kind of a thing for him for The Tender Bar. I really liked him in that movie.
You do. Quickly, Leo Logan says Cody, Troy, Affleck, Cooper, and Ciarán Hinds are my top 5. That's a solid 5 right there. I think that's exactly. As a solid 5, I think. Sean, do you disagree with that 5?
Yeah, I think there's somebody that people aren't picking that'll be in. I think we've got McPhee, Cooper, Hinds, and Kotsur are your 4. I think the 5th one, I actually have him in 3, and I think it's Simmons. I think that Being the Ricardos has a surprising amount of love from that. Like it'll get a surprising amount of love from that group. So I think that Simmons will get in. Outside chances, I have Isaacs possibly getting in as like a long shot, like a dark horse. Bleecker Street has been campaigning the heck out of that movie. So they've done a lot of awards events in New York and LA. So I could see that paying off for him. Dornan maybe, but I don't think that Dornan will get in over Hinds. And then Leto possibly. I hope not. He does not deserve to be rewarded for his Parmesan cheese skin and olive oil blood. But or the lines of Reggiata that he did.
This is you got to
really got to see how the Gucci now. Eventually,
please see
this is one of the most contentious categories in the entire thing, though. I mean, you legitimately have 10 people that could get into 5 spots here. I mean, that is one of the most. That's what I like. I like contention. I like just variation that you don't know what you're going to get until Tuesday morning. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes, I think we know at least 4 that are going to get into this. I think the 5th one is a bit of a toss-up.
and it's the biggest
I think
toss-up of
three.
them all. I think.
I think you're talking three here. I think Cody, Troy, and Kieran Hines. Those are the three. The other two spots, it could be anybody.
I will say, I will add upon the fact that I do still think it's 3. While I do have Bradley Cooper in, I still consider the world where I think he misses, but I have him in based upon the fact that there is a lot of love for Licorice Pizza, especially at BAFTA that we saw. There's a lot of love for Licorice Pizza, and I think he gets in based upon that alone.
Yeah.
But JK's a good one. I have him as 6, Sean. So JK's got a shot, and he's won here. And we know what they think about people winning twice.
Yeah.
Love their twice.
But yeah, I mean, I would actually argue there's 2 locks because I think Cody and Troy are probably locks. Kieran Hines is one of those ones that it's going to depend on if they on where they go, because didn't both of them miss SAG?
They did.
So yeah, so because I was almost like when I decided earlier to take out Kieran and put someone else in. To me, it was either going to be J.K. Simmons or Jesse Plemons. I chose to go for Plemons because he's got a lot of love across the place. Like there's a few guilds in which he was there and supporting over Cody, or they're both there. So, but yeah, I think it's probably going to be J.K. or Jesse that gets in if one of them do. I just don't really know which one yet at this point.
Yeah, the Dog Boys did get in at BAFTA, didn't they?
Yeah, both of them got in.
The Dog Boys made it in, and I think you're going to get them in. I think there's a more likely chance of them both getting in comparison to both Belfast Boys getting in. I think that's a higher probability.
You think over in BAFTA, the Belfast Boys would have both got in, but
surprisingly,
no,
yeah,
the Dog Boys get in instead.
The more American film had both actors go in, but it's also a jury committee system, so go figure. We know what the top 2 vote getters are, so we're gonna go see. All right, so I'm going quickly. We're gonna end this out by saying, all right, so Troy, and Cody, and Kieran Hines. I think we're all in agreement. They're in, and then the argument can be made. Bradley Cooper is also in. We all have those 4, correct?
I didn't have Kieran Hines.
Oh wait, you don't have Kieran Hines. Wait, so you have Plemons.
I said I took him out. Yeah.
Oh, you took him out. Okay.
Yeah, so I've got Cody, Troy, Leto, Cooper, and Plemons.
Wow.
Okay, Plemons and Leto.
Interesting.
Yes.
Group.
Okay. Well, I have Leto too. I don't want him in, but I have him in.
Debating. I was debating putting him in, and
he gets a lot of love at the Oscars. Of late. I mean, he had a little thing last year.
He missed out the Oscars, but he did get SAG, and he got the Golden Globe, which again I still don't know how that happened. It was a weird year. We won't talk about it. But Brian Nussbaum says I could see Mike Feist making it in. If he had made it into something that was not, I mean, he could have been like number 2 vote getter. I think whatever the 2 top vote getters were for BAFTA are going to get in here, but I think that's Troy Kotzer and Cody Smith McPhee. I think that's who the top 2 vote getters were.
Yeah.
Do y'all disagree with that?
Yep, I agree. Feist was one of the ones that the jury got into best supporting over in BAFTA.
I think so.
Troy and Cody were the top 2 vote getters.
And Leo Logan, imagine if Leto gets an Oscar and a Razzie nod for Gucci. I think that's totally possible, and I'd love that world that we live in for the chaos alone. Bring us all together in our love and our hate.
I mean, it happened with Glenn Close last year.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Billy Elegy.
That is true.
Let's get best supporting now.
So best supporting actress we're gonna go for. This one I think is the most locked up, or not locked up. Pardon my phrase. This one is the most. I think we might have a consensus in the 5 that there has been at least a consensus. It feels like. So for me, I have Ariana DeBose, I have Kirsten Dunst, I have Katriana Balfe, I have Anjanou Ellis, and Ruth Negga. I want to hear y'all.
That's
Same 5. Same 5.
Sean, is that your?
I
5?
do not have Negga in.
That's who I'm debating right now. Who else do you have?
I have it down to 4 people for that last spot. I have Negga as my 6. I have Dowd as my 5. I'm really hoping Dowd gets in.
Sean, you're making me excited.
I'm putting a lot of my eggs in that mass basket. I have Blanchett getting in, or Blanchett is like a potential getting in for Nightmare Alley.
And then Dench is the last one that I have as a possibility.
Is there a place where Rita Moreno or Marlee Matlin, their movies bring in their respective films? Like, is there a reason that Marlee Matlin comes out of nowhere and is that one? Because I feel like almost every year there's someone without any
I don't see
precursors.
Matlin coming out of nowhere. I could see Moreno coming out of nowhere, though.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys agree with that statement? Anything else? You have one that's going to come out of nowhere, or is this thing you think this
Moreno,
is the 5?
Things are starting not to look so good for her, and that's why I just don't think she's got a chance. I think this is the 5. I mean, Nega has been starting to get into places, and she's getting into BAFTA. She's getting in SAG. She's gonna. I think you got, and then you can't knock out any of the other 4: DeBose, Ellis, Dunstan, Balfe.
Yep.
So that's. I think this is as good as. But next to, I think, original screenplay, this could be one of the most locked categories, and maybe animation of the whole night or the whole morning.
I mean, I think if anyone comes out of nowhere for this, it's either going to be Marlee Matlin or I'm not going to even try to pronounce her name, but what's her name from The Worst Person in the World? To get some
She's best
international
actress.
flavor.
Lead actress.
Oh,
Lead actress. Yeah,
We'll get to that in a second.
She would be in supporting, but that is good. Good name. Good no name, Malcolm. Even though you wanted to say the name.
Well, I will say, Iduis Anderson Daniels Lee was in contention for Best Supporting Actor. That's all I'm going to say. I will also quickly add as well too that even though
also
Anjanu Ellis missed
Tick Tick Boom and Best Supporting Actor, I liked.
Robin DeJesus.
Really good. Boy, if he could, I mean, I'd love for
really
him
good.
To do that. That would be. I mean, not at the expense of Ben Affleck, but I'd like. I do like him.
I will say, even though Anjanu Ellis missed SAG, I do think again, I think that she's still like. I think she is safe in this instance, mainly because I think that there's still enough critical love for King Richard.
Did she got in BAFTA, didn't she?
She did, but I don't think she was top 2. Who do we think was the top 2?
Yeah, I think she was top 2. I think her and DeBose were top 2.
You don't think Balfe?
Yeah, because of I was watching somebody, and they were reading off the top 2, and they were saying the 2 names that were the top, and they said Balfe. I mean, DeBose and Ellis were the 2.
Who said that? I'm curious.
Somebody read it. They were reading them off, and how they were reading them. They were naming the top 2 first. If you watched the way they were announcing them, the top 2 were the 2. Then everybody else was the other ones afterwards. All right, maybe it was Balfe. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
When they announced them, they did it by. Correct me if I'm wrong. I did it by.
They were in alphabetical order, I'm pretty sure.
I think so, because if that was the case, Will Smith was last in actor.
Well, no, because somebody, I think it was, I was watching a Gold Derby Slugfest or one of the things, and they knew who was the top 2 vote getter somehow, and they were telling me while I was watching it.
I mean, I think it's a case of they may have speculated it. I mean, just based on the way they say it. I don't think they actually knew for a fact that was the case.
If they did, please tell us. We would love to know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that those are your 5. I think we're all in agreement that Ariana DeBose is probably the she's number 1 at this point. Any disagreements?
No, not at all. And irony of all ironies, what's her face did win this same word. Now, real quick, we don't want to be on this all day, but how many times has different actors won an Oscar for the same role? We know Robert De Niro and Marlon Brando.
We also have Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger.
Joaquin Phoenix and so that's twice. Would this be the 3rd time this has happened? For the same role, 2 actors for the same role?
I mean,
that's something to look up.
Well, I mean, I think this is because I think it's not happened a lot just because they had because I think this is the remakes don't do a lot of good at the Oscars. I think this is the first remake in a while which I think has been in contention for the Oscars. Because I mean, and also with the Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix one. There were two different categories as well, so I don't know if you could include that for this because, well, yes, it's the same character, but one of them was
Yeah.
the lead, the other supporting. So
Yes, you're right.
Fair.
Absolutely 100%
That's
right.
fair. All right, so moving on to Best Actor. Actually, well, I will say one thing about Ann Dowd. Again, I would love it if Ann Dowd was in there. And again, Sean, your love for her might convince me just to put Ann Dowd in over
I love
Ruth
Ann
Negga,
Dowd,
who I
man,
also
but I
love.
don't
So
think she's going to get in.
don't
did
think
you
so.
go through this when we were doing the SAG predictions? I mean, I think it was Abe that was putting your hopes
Oh
up.
no,
Ann Dowd.
I can't.
I had
I can't.
Ann Dowd in the sacks. I got
Yeah, Dan
absolutely
did.
killed in
Yeah,
my seat.
I don't know. I could still I still see it being a chance.
I hope so. I genuinely hope so.
Don't get Manning's hope up with all this mass talk,
I know,
Sean.
right? My favorite film of the year. All right.
Best actor.
Best actor. So, Malcolm, tell me. I think we all have 4, if I'm not mistaken. So tell me, who were your top 4 at the moment, Malcolm?
So my top, so for me, best actor is like Will Smith, Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, Javier Bardem, and I've got Denzel Washington.
Oh,
there.
okay. So he's your 5th Denzel Washington.
Yeah, I mean, he missed BAFTA, and
Don't.
and it's
Malcolm. Don't. You can't use that as a way.
Well, I mean,
to say, well, he has never got into BAFTA. He's won 2 Oscars, been nominated 6 times. I mean, you can't use that as evidence. I'm trying to help you out here.
I go ahead, Malcolm.
I mean, I was about to say is like I personally don't. I mean, I haven't seen the whole movie. I've seen various clips of Washington's performance. I don't like his performance in those clips I've seen.
Okay.
So I don't think he's a solid.
I have him as my 5 as well. I actually have the exact same lineup as you, just in a different order.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
I have one different person than those guys.
Same, and I was about to say, I think we all have Smith, Cumberbatch, Garfield, and Washington.
Yes,
we all have them in various levels or whatnot.
Yep.
The 5th spot or the 4th, however you see it, that last person, I think to me could be varied. It's to me. All right, first I want to hear Sean. Who do you have? No,
I have in the order
Cumberbatch,
Smith, Garfield, Bardem, Washington. And then as my 2 outsiders, I have Dinklage and Hoffman.
Okay.
So you got Bardem and Malcolm's got Bardem, and I don't have Bardem.
Who do you have, Dan?
And Yanni doesn't have Bardem. I'm assuming. So
no, I don't.
I have Peter Dinklage. I've been on the Peter Dinklage train for a long time, ever since I saw Cyrano back in late November. I just think if more people, I'm hoping the voters see this movie and see his performance. But his rant about midgets and all this stuff lately is not doing him any favors.
I mean
to be fair, in our guild, later, half of the people had not seen that movie, and he still got a runner-up spot in our guild. So like that, like half the people had not seen the movie, and he still did really super well. So I mean, his performance is great.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
I could see it being enough to edge out Washington.
That'd be.
You think Bardem's in? You really do?
I think Bardem's in.
Wow.
I think Bardem is 4.
Holy moly.
See, okay, maybe I'm the one who is the outlier here, and I'm really going on this because I think that this movie is really beloved and it's going to overperform. I have Smith, Cumberbatch, Garfield, Washington, and then I got DiCaprio. I have DiCaprio based upon the fact that I think Don't Look Up is going to do incredibly well, and I'm going to hate it. But I'm just doing this based upon the fact if they really like DiCaprio, the movie is beloved, and the fact that he can kind of come in last minute and with that BAFTA nom, even though it's a jury, I'm not putting credence into that. I merely saw it and I'm like, okay, cool. That performance is something that people are at least looking at this moment if they like Don't Look Up. And because Don't Look Up is in the top 5, I might be mistaken in not putting Bardem in there. I will fully admit that, but that is a possibility.
I think Cooper is a better choice than DiCaprio.
Really?
Yeah, I would. Cooper's my 6 because I think he carries Nightmare Alley, and he does it. He kind of plays 2 distinctly different types of character, even though he's the same person in Nightmare Alley.
Yeah,
He really does a lot of work and heavy lifting in that, more than Leo does in Don't Look Up.
Well, I agree, but I still think that, in fact, just because the Don't Look Up is getting more love than Nightmare Alley is, and I think that that's going to propel the movie forward. But Malcolm, go ahead.
The one thing I'll say is I included Bardem in here because he did get a SAG nomination. So I think that could definitely translate over.
Well, it's the largest voting body. It's the largest voting body as actors.
What I was going to add is with Dinklage, a lot of people might, because I mean with Cyrano, regardless of if people seen it, I'm not using that. We have seen in the past that if people get a lot of controversy on them, sometimes that can
hurt them.
Hurt them a bit, and because it hurt Franco when Disasters came out.
And Denzel benefited that year.
And the other thing with Dinklage is a lot of people might see it because this is because Dinklage did originate this version of Cyrano in the same stage production that was done 2 years prior, so they might see this and go, well, he's playing exactly the same way he did in that stage production. It's not that much different, and he's had about 2 years to prepare for that role. So whether or not that's the case, I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking about here.
That's a good valid point, Malcolm. You're making a valid point there.
That's fair. And I will say real fast is that Brian Nussbaum says, hoping we get a surprise nom of Nick Cage for Pig. That'd be nice. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I mean,
there was a point at which it could have, but I don't think Neon is putting enough resources into it. If Neon put more resources into it, I could definitely see it happening.
I mean, I legit think it could be a Secret Six out there, because I think it could be between him and DiCaprio, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Cage gets in over DiCaprio if one of these five don't get in.
Again, there always seems to be one performance that gets in, without any sort of precursor nominations, and that could be, well, they had Critics' Choice. He had Critics' Choice, but then again, I don't know how much predictive view could that be, because that's obviously critics and not guild members or whatnot. And then finally, Josephine says, I think it's possible that DiCaprio was one of the top 2 of BAFTA. See, but then Smith and Cumberbatch is the thing. If Will Smith had missed, I might agree with that statement. But I don't know. He might have been. I don't know. They really did like Don't Look Up. It made it into everywhere it needed to besides director.
I mean, and let's be honest, the Oscars do seem to like it DiCaprio.
They do. Now he's in
once, though. He's only won once, though.
He's not winning for this.
Nope. All right, let's get actress here.
Best actress. We got 3 more, everybody. We're almost there to the home stretch. Best actress. I can't believe I'm saying this, everybody. Lady Gaga has gotten everything that she needs, and I think she's in the top 2 because of it. She is the biggest vote getter, I believe. Whether she's higher than Nicole Kidman, I don't know, but I'm gonna want to hear from Dan. What are your 5?
Yeah, I bent over to the pressure on Lady Gaga. I got her in here now. I didn't have her in here, but I do now. Nicole Kidman, Jessica Chastain, Lady Gaga, Jennifer Hudson, and Amelia Jones. I wanted an outlier in here that I thought could be a surprise. And you got to remember who she carries this movie, and it's starting to gain a lot of momentum, even though it's been around an entire year. That's Coda. How can it be gaining momentum a year later? Well, it is. And Amelia Jones might be the beneficiary of this momentum that it's gaining, and she could sneak into Best Actress.
Sean, you had a surprised look upon your face when he said Amelia Jones. I'm guessing you don't have her.
Do not. I would love for her to get in. Great performance. But I don't see that happening. I see the 5 being Kidman, Coleman, Penelope Cruz, Jessica Chastain, and then either Kristen Stewart or Lady Gaga is the 5th.
No, I had
Uh,
Coleman
with
for the longest time, Sean. I had
What?
Coleman for the longest time, and I think after BAFTA, I took her out. That's the one thing you can look at BAFTA and say she's a Brit. You think she'd be in BAFTA? No, she's not in BAFTA.
Yeah.
So that to me kind of gave me a clue that maybe she's not as popular as I'm thinking she is.
I think she makes it in based upon the fact that, again, like she is still beloved and it's a jury system. I just think that she's not winning. I don't think she's winning. I think that's what it means now. But before I ask you, Malcolm, Sean, I want to ask one quick question. You have Penelope Cruz, and there has been a lot of support recently, a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? A groundswell of her in recent days for this past week of voting. Why do you have her in particular, despite the fact she has not gotten any precursor noms? Is this that one that you believe comes out of nowhere at the last minute?
I don't know. I think she's a really acclaimed actress. I think that the movie is well liked, and that if it had been submitted for Spain instead of The Good Boss, that would have been your 5th spot in the international, instead of Fleet or Compartment Number 6. And I think that they're going to throw at that bone because of it.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
She's won before. She's been nominated before,
They
and
like
she's
her?
won before. So she's beloved already in the Academy. You know.
Malcolm, what are your 5 then?
Yeah, so my 5 got Lady Gaga, Nicole Kidman, Jessica Chastain, Olivia Colman, and still holding on hope because I'm still holding on hope on Kristen Stewart here. But it's just one of those ones that I might make a last minute change to now I can say it. This is the worst person, the world person. I'm not going to go try and pronounce your name still.
Renee something or other.
Rinsvey, I believe. Rinsvey. It's Rinsvey or Rinsvey. I'm not positive. One of those two.
Just because I think there was a lot of groundswell around her, and I think if anyone comes in from an international thing, I do think it's probably going to be her as opposed to Penelope Cruz, because but it's one of those ones that it's really hard to tell, really.
And she did win our guild,
certain.
if that means anything to anybody. She did win. I was shocked by that. But Stewart's not in my 5. I had Stewart winning this for months and months and months, and I knocked her out of my own 5 after BAFTA.
So none of us have K-Stew and 5 then?
Nope.
No?
I have her as my
Okay.
I do have her. I knocked her out because it just seems like she didn't get into SAG. She didn't get in BAFTA. She's not getting in places. And it's like, oh boy.
I have her in as my 5 instead of Gaga.
So you don't even have Gaga.
Gaga's gaining momentum all over the place.
So then who do you have that is from BAFTA? Do you think anyone from BAFTA makes it in from what we had there?
Who were the BAFTA nominees? I get them mixed up sometimes.
It's
Renee, worst person in the world got in.
Alana Haim.
Alana Haim got in.
I could see Haim getting
Amy Jones got in.
Joanna Scanlon, but that ain't gonna happen. And Tessa Thompson. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think it'll be completely different 5 from.
That'd be cool. That'd be wild if that was the case. I don't think that's never happened. For obvious reasons, because jury systems.
I mean, the outlier is Gaga. Gaga is going to get in both, I think.
Malcolm, you're going to say?
Yeah, no. What I was about to say is, I think that this is a tough category to sort of kind of predict because there's so many potentials here. Yeah. I think the one that I'm pretty sure is getting in no matter what is Gaga, because she's popped up a lot, and the other 4, I think, like as good as they may be, I think it's up in the air for who the other 4 are going to be.
And which is what I'll say is, like, I think I think Gaga and Kidman are the only 2 people that I believe to be a lock. And there are like 12 different actresses that are vying for those last 3 or so spots.
Yeah.
Chastain, I could see Chastain missing. I could see Coleman missing. My 5th one is going out on a limb. It's Renette Rensby for the worst person in the world. I'm going out on a limb because I think she'd be the international representation. Not saying we have one every year, but that would be really awesome because she's really great and it's a great movie. I However, I could also see, I could see if Alana Haim, based upon the fact that she was maybe the second highest vote getter for BAFTA. And that's kind of what I'm basing it on. If the 2 highest vote getters can get in, and then the rest of the 3 are probably not even going to be the ones that BAFTA has picked. I don't know. That's what I perceive that to be the case, but I could be incredibly wrong. So okay, so I'm trying to think right now. Is there a world right now? You say Amelia Jones, Dan. We all have. Which ones do we have in common? Because this is by far the
Kidman, Chastain.
Chastain. You all have Chastain.
Yeah.
And
I have Hudson
that's it.
and Jones and Gaga. I have Hudson, Jones, and Gaga.
But Sean doesn't have Gaga. And then I don't have Hudson. I don't have Jones. Yeah, I don't have Cruz. Yeah, so we're kind of all. Dan doesn't have Coleman. Wait, do you have Coleman, Dan? You said you don't have Coleman.
No, I took her out because I BAFTA.
And also, I will say Josephine says that Alana Haim has the advantage of being in a Best Picture nod. That is true. She would be the one to make it in. But then again, we're going to see if any of our picks are in Best Picture. We'll get that in a second. Regardless, this is to me the most chaotic category of any of the acting categories, and I'm here for it. I love the fact that it's this. We could get like 2 of these people that we've all mentioned, and this could be. If anyone gets this 5 for 5, I bow before you. You are incredibly lucky. You know what's up. If you do, congratulations.
Yeah.
And so just to go around,
less contentious.
Yeah, I will quickly say. We're going to go quickly around just so we have this locked down. Again, my 5, Gaga, Kidman, Chastain, Coleman, Rinsby. Malcolm, your 5.
Gaga, Kidman, Chastain, Coleman, Stewart.
Okay, Dan.
Kidman, Chastain, Gaga, Hudson, Jones.
And Sean.
Kidman, Coleman, Cruz, Chastain, Stewart.
I love all the C's right there. This is gonna be my favorite category to watch. Everyone's gonna wait with bated breath on Tuesday. And then finally, we got 2 more. Best Director. We haven't done this in a while.
Contentious. I know it seems like you think director would be more contentious, but it's less contentious.
Yes and no. Chaotic, I would say, but
no.
We haven't said this in a while.
I don't know.
I think there's a possibility you could have 2 current front runners completely miss. I could totally see that to be a possibility.
Really?
Maybe not as chaotic. Okay. I totally could see that. I don't have that predicted, but we're not getting the DGA 5 personally. I don't think, but we all can agree that we have someone who's going to make it in. Everyone say it with me. Last time, Dune.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yes, even though he missed BAFTA.
Hesitantly.
I don't like that hesitantly word you use, Malcolm. So again, Sean, who do you have besides, of course, Denis Villeneuve and I'm sure Campion?
Yeah, I have Campion and Villeneuve as my top 2. As much as I hate to say this because I hate him with every ounce of my body, Branagh, least favorite person ever. Paul Thomas Anderson and Spielberg round up my 5. I do think that there's an outside chance of either Hamaguchi or Cohen getting that 5th spot, but I think it's cut and dry for those top 5.
So you would have the DJ 5.
Yeah.
And I have the DGA 5 as well. I have the exact same 5 as Sean, safe. With Yamaguchi as my 6. And I really battled with myself last night when I was trying to come up with these 5. Should I go with Yamaguchi? And I went with Spielberg. I just couldn't take him out. And even though I wanted to take Spielberg out, I was like, ah.
I mean,
I was happy if Yamaguchi got in on Tuesday morning.
You might be in a wise position. Quickly, Malcolm, before you, Brian says Lynn, McKay, Spielberg, Villeneuve, and Branagh. No Campion is a bold move.
Yeah,
it's a bold move.
Yeah, Brian, you're just. I'm sorry,
Brian. You have balls. I will say for that.
Campion is definitely happening.
Because she's gonna win. She might win.
She's going to win. That's going to be the token win. That and Screenplay are going to be the token wins for her.
For Power of the Dogs.
She might pull away with 2 wins.
Because that movie is not as well liked as a lot of people think it is.
Is it not? I was under the impression that it was very. I mean, obviously, I know you don't like it, Sean.
Right.
But
no,
I'm looking
beyond me. There are a lot of people who are bored by it.
No, you're right. That is completely fair.
And so, it's enough that they respect it and they respect her, so it'll get nominated.
but it's not going to win much. Other than I think it'll win supporting actor, screenplay director, and I think that'll be it.
So quickly, Brian, while we're waiting, I'd love to hear your thoughts about why you think Campion is going to be missing. Is that a surprise snub? And if so, I'd love to hear why you think that is the case. But McKay is a something I'm scared of, and I hope that doesn't happen. So Malcolm, what do you have for the 5?
I've got the exact same 5 as Sean and Dan. Yeah, I mean, like I'll be booted out of New Zealand if I didn't have Campion. But the reason I said hesitantly to Denis Villeneuve is like I think the direction is lacking in Dune. I think like while it's a good looking movie, I just don't like the way Denis chose to had directed in that in the way he did. And if I was to take anyone out, it would be Denis, and I'll probably put in Hamaguchi just because in the past few years, there's been a surprise director of a foreign movie in here, and I think the one that has
probably last year really caught me off guard. I was
I'm considering taking out one of these. I might keep it because I've got no idea who I really want to take out here because like these are the 5 which are getting a lot of love, but and I think if anyone's going to get in, it is going to be Hamaguchi because Drive My Car is like I've been hearing a lot about that, and so yeah.
Okay, so maybe I take it back if this one's really up in the air. I'm the only person who apparently thinks that, so I take it back. Quickly, Leo Logan says Campion, Brana, Spielberg, Villeneuve, and PTA, the DGA 5. I'm hesitant to say that though because I don't know the last time we've had the DGA 5. And again, trends are meant to be broken ultimately at one point, but I'm going to go with the trend we've had the past 2 years so far, and that is with the surprise inclusion of Paul Palinowski and then Thomas Vinterberg. I'm going to go with basically most all that we've said. I'm going to go with Hamaguchi for Drive My Car over Steven Spielberg. I have West Side Story missing a lot of stuff, and I decided, you know what, go big or go home. If BAFTA isn't falling in love with it for some of the craft categories, maybe this is the part where it misses. Again, West Side Story is a very American film, so I could be wrong personally. We'll see though.
Wouldn't it be crazy if we get Ridley Scott for House of Gucci in here, and we also get Hamaguchi?
Oh Lord. It'd be like Ridley Scott for House of Gucci. Is it Ryosuke?
Ryosuke.
Ryosuke for Hamaguchi. Drive My Car. I got the last name pronunciation anyway. I got that. So I think that's the case. And then I could see I could see McKay getting in because they love, but I'm not gonna. They love Don't Look Up, but I'm not doing that. He missed DGA, but he got in for Vice and The Big Short. But he missed DGA, so I'm hoping for that to continue. And he missed here as well.
Yeah, I mean for Vice and The Big Short, he got in DGA for those two, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and he made it on for the Oscar nomination. So I think this is where that ends personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him getting one hit this time. Even though I mean, he's been slippery, man. He's slipping in different places.
Last question I'll have before we move on is: do we think Sean Hayter has a chance for Coda at all
I
to make
thought
it
about it, but I don't think so.
I think he's like 8 here.
I think she's like 7 or something, possibly.
Yeah.
8 might be actually correct though. Not a bad choice. I was merely thinking about that as the surprise, like Lenny Abrahamson, Morton Tildum.
I mean, I think it's going to depend on how much they really love Coda. If Coda starts popping up in a lot of categories, on this thing, I'm not going to be too surprised if we see Coda in director as well, because Coda could end up being that one surprise movie that comes out of nowhere and gets a lot of nominations.
It'd be crazy if it did. It'd be crazy. I mean, it's going to get some nominations. It's not going to get a lot of nominations like Dune will get, but
it has at least 3 to me. Coda has at least 3 nominations under the bag.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Dune could be that one movie that everyone's saying could get a lot of nominations. It could end up being that one that gets not a lot. So
I'd
I mean,
be
it's
shocked though, from a technical standpoint, just from the text. Even if it misses picture, if it misses director, if it misses screenplay, like the text, I'd be really shocked.
It's below the line. Dune's gonna clean up, Malcolm.
Yes, it's gonna take its broom and start sweeping up the floor for the other nominations.
Let's get
all right.
into the picture.
Oh, you read my mind. All right, last one. When we're gonna end this home, and I just took 2 hours and 30 minutes. I didn't expect that, but we're going through each one, so I'm not shocked. All right, I'm going to name out each one, and then I want you guys to say yes if you have it, no if you don't. You guys ready?
Yep.
So like in our 10?
Yes.
Okay.
If this is in your 10, say yes or no. Belfast.
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
Power of the Dog.
yes,
Yes.
King Richard.
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
Again, this is not in order of, most likely to win. Don't have that right now. Dune.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Licorice Pizza.
yes,
Yes.
Don't Look Up.
yes,
Yes.
Maybe.
Man, I hope you're right, Sean. West Side Story.
yes,
Yes.
Coda.
yes,
No.
Yes. Oh, Sean doesn't have Coda.
Oh,
Okay. I have to
wow.
choose no, we've gotten this entire thing.
We've the first no that we have. So we have a solid 7 that we all have, but I'm going to go for the rest of them. Tick, Tick, Boom.
yes,
No.
Oh, that's two no's.
Wow.
Ron.
And finally, 10, Drive My Car.
No.
no,
Okay, that's my out of left field. pick.
No.
Okay.
John-
Okay.
You're missing a very big one that is definitely getting in.
Tragedy
No
Macbeth
doubt about it.
got to be in here, right?
No, I don't
What are
think,
you saying?
I do not think.
Which
It's
one,
not
Dan?
Tragedy Macbeth.
No.
I know
What?
what it is, but it's because I don't have it doing as well anywhere else, and that's being the Ricardos, right?
Yes. Like that's absolutely getting in. There's no way that doesn't.
You think
get
so?
There's
Oh,
Yeah,
stuff for that
I
movie
had
in
it
Hollywood.
until last night. I took it out last night. I'll switch it back.
I mean,
There-
being with
there's no way
Cowders
that's
is.
getting in.
I mean, being with
do-
Cowders.
I have Don't Look Up at 7, or sorry, 8. I have Don't Look Up at 8. I think it's pretty safe, but I don't think it's guaranteed. My 9 and 10 are Nightmare Alley and Mass.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
That's bold. That is bold, Sean. Your mass love is bold. I respect the heck out of that mass love, Rare.
I had mass love, Sean, for the sax, and then when it got just completely destroyed, I said, "Forget about mass. I'm not even gonna."
They've been
Think about
campaigning
Mass.
that
They
more
have?
aggressively than anything other than Dune. I think Dune has had like the most aggressive campaign, and then Mass had like the second most aggressive campaign in terms of like Hollywood and New York events.
But I don't think it's worked because it's not getting anywhere. I mean, and down in BAFTA, but that's it. That's the only place
but
it's been
I
getting
still
in.
think that they of anyone have invested like the most money. So I think I think that's your 10th spot. Your 10th spot is either going to be Mass, Tick Tick Boom, or Coda, in my opinion.
No, Coda's better. I think it's in the top 5 or 6. Coda
No.
is. I think Coda's got a better shot at getting in than a lot of films do. But I had both Being the Ricardos and Nightmare Alley, and I took them out to put Tragedy, Macbeth, and Tick Tick Boom in there because
No way that Macbeth gets in.
really okay.
Yeah,
Academy
I mean,
hates Shakespeare.
I think Macbeth is losing a lot of steam.
Okay,
as this is,
I might switch it out then.
Academy hates Shakespeare.
Say that again.
The Academy hates Shakespeare.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. But
I mean-
the way that movie was presented, I think, is the artsy fartsy.
As a
way.
horror movie, do you think that makes it any better?
Well,
Being a Shakespeare horror movie.
The cinematography, the lighting, and
I mean, in saying that, the Academy loves Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah, but it's not like a Shakespeare adaptation.
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
Well,
they did.
Well,
like
did,
Shakespeare adaptations have a hard time. with
did
it.
Romeo plus Juliet make it in?
No.
No.
I mean, it's one of those ones. Like, I mean, well, I don't know the whole. So I think at least 1 or 2 of the Hamlets got nominated, but I think
But it's not. It's
Yeah.
been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll give you that. I think if there was I think if anything that should have done, made the Academy sort of look at Shakespeare adaptations in a different light. I think this is the one that needed to do it. But just going by the momentum, it's not really coming up anywhere else. So I don't think it's having that love it needs to translate to a Best Picture nomination. I mean, I think there's a chance it could get some nominations in here, but even them, I'm not that confident on either. I mean, eventually I plan on seeing this.
It's very good.
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem with living in New Zealand. A lot of the Oscar nominations come out after the Oscars have been, so I can't see them beforehand.
So speaking of Macbeth, real fast, Josephine asks, with Macbeth losing steam, do you think it's possible it could even miss cinematography? I think that's the one that's locked. Like, I think honestly that's the one that's locked. If I'm in agreement.
I agree. I think it's a pretty safe bet there.
I mean, I kind of agree, but it's one of those ones I think I think there's a good chance it could even miss that. I mean, because I didn't mention when we did cinematography because I think if Macbeth is losing steam, that could open up a spot for the Green Knight to potentially sneak in there to cinematography because, I mean, like, if anything...
A24 has put no money into that movie, though.
Sadly.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones, like...
you gotta
I think
look at
A24 just gave up this year.
I mean...
That's weird.
Has there been any movies that sort of got into a nomination without much campaigning behind it? Because I think if any does do that, so I think there could be a chance Green Knight could sneak in for that, especially if Macbeth is losing steam and falls out. But I mean, I'm kind of speculating, but I don't know.
I think the most recent example of something that got him without being campaigned was Lakeith Stanfield in supporting actor.
Yeah. That guy did not campaign.
All boats raise tides. How's that?
A rising tide raises all ships.
All ships, yeah. That's how.
And I guess Kaluuya, yeah. And Brian asked, "Can we see Spider-Man make it in?" No.
I don't think so, but you just never know. They do like a big budget movie in there, but Dune's that. For Dune is that. Don't Look Up has got the streaming, the big streaming thing. And so you got those two covered with Dune and Don't Look Up. So that's where Spider-Man could fall off. If you didn't have a Dune and a Don't Look Up, I would say maybe Spider-Man could get in. But because of those two, you got the mega movie on streaming, and then you get the mega movie in theaters that made a lot of money. Not as much as they probably wish they could have made for Dune, but it did make a lot of money.
I will add upon the fact that it needed PGA to be in the conversation. I don't think without PGA, it's not going to make it in. And if there's a big blockbuster that's not Dune, it was going to be No Time to Die if it made it like in Best Film at BAFTA, and it didn't do that either.
But in saying that, like even No Time to Die, like didn't get a PGA nomination either. So
we had this whole discussion, right, Malcolm?
Yeah.
So we don't hold too much water into that. So so to reiterate, Dan, the ones that no one has, I guess I'm the only one holding any faith in Drive My Car, I guess.
Yes.
Well, I thought about it. I really thought strongly about it last time when I made my predictions, and I just can't. And for the longest time, I said, "Oh, we're going to get a foreign film in here. We're going to get a." Remember how I was talking about some of the best films of the year are foreign films? Worst Person in the World, Hero, Drive My Car. But from what the tea leaves are showing us, it doesn't look like a foreign film is going to get in here. We have a better shot at foreign film getting in the director and screenplay than we do Best Picture, which is kind of weird.
All right. Sean, I know you're someone who thinks Drive My Car is your favorite film of the year. You don't see a path for Drive My Car. I was hoping that with 10 expanded, we could get an international film in here, but you don't think that's the case.
I don't think so this year. I think that I don't know. I don't think that movie is agreeable enough to get into the main slate. I think that Parasite is a very agreeable film. To an extent, Roma is an agreeable film.
They're shorter, first of all. They're shorter.
Yeah, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's also, I don't know, there are large sections of Drive My Car that are just performing Chekhov, which Chekhov is the type of playwright that you either love or hate. So if you hate Chekhov, you're going to hate Drive My Car, because that's like 20 minutes of the movie. So like, I don't think it's agreeable enough to get into the main batch. I think A Hero has a better chance of getting into the main batch than
Oh wow.
I don't think it will. I think that would be like 15 to 20, like in that ranking. But I don't think Drive My Car is going to get it.
Mhm.
I would love to see me proven wrong. I hope I get proven wrong.
I think you're right, Sean. I think the foreign films are in the top 20. Worst Person, Hero, Drive My Car are in the top 20. But you named 2, Nightmare Alley and what was your other one that you had?
Mass.
That probably are higher than some of the foreign films.
Yeah, Nightmare Alley, I think in particular, is definitely higher. I will add. Does anyone else have Nightmare Alley besides Sean?
And I don't even have that. I took it out last night.
I might actually put Being the Ricardos back in. The only thing I'm afraid of is I'm afraid of doing the.
I have that as like 4.
Wow.
Oh wow. Okay,
Wow.
That is bullish.
Yeah,
no, I'm guessing no Sorkin and no Sorkin, your director, huh?
No.
No.
Okay.
No Sorkin.
I'm checking if it's that high. I'm like, oh, check. Is that?
I don't like that movie. I think it's a bad movie.
He also got Javier Bardem, an actor too.
But I think it's got the love, and I think it's a Hollywood movie, and Hollywood loves Hollywood. So
they do. I might just have to do that. I'm just afraid of doing the PGA 10. That's the only thing I'm afraid of doing. The full-on PGA 10. Obviously, they're a straight 10. It's just it'd be weird to see that to be the case, and I don't know what else to pick if it's not Drive My Car over Being the Ricardos. But I could take Big Tick Boom out. I'm not sure yet.
I don't think Boom's in either. I think it has a chance, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, I mean, like this is the first year the Oscars have done a straight 10 for Best Picture as opposed to the floating scale. So I think it's going to be so. I think if it's one year that is going to be the PGA 10, I think this will be this will be interesting to see if the PGA is going to line up with the Oscars beat for beat. Because I think PGA's always been 10 straight 10, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so like this is the way it's going. If we're going to tell, if I'm going forward, if PJ is going to line up the Oscars a lot more because they're both doing straight 10s.
It's the safest bet if you want to go 10 for 10. Yeah. Last question before we wrap up. House of Gucci, guys. Is Jared Leto and his Parmesan-ness going to make it in at all? Or
I don't have it in here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got in.
I hope not. It's one of the worst movies I saw last year.
Yeah.
It
wasn't an awful movie for me. I just think you had to watch it under a certain kind of microscope of what you were expecting.
I don't agree. I think that it half the movie felt like Ridley Scott wasn't even on set. Like
maybe he was on the set of Last Duel.
Directed.
Maybe
Last Duel.
I mean, maybe he wasn't on set. Maybe he was directing from a social distance.
No, he was like somewhere else shouting at them.
He was just
he was on Zoom directing it.
Director.
Yeah,
he's like, "Hey,
Jared Leto was directing it."
Oh Lord, with that direction, you're not. I guess I loved it for how bananas that movie is, how weird it is, and just how kind of bad in some parts it is. That's why I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say it's a good movie by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, once again, one thing I will say is if the Academy really loves House of Gucci, I wouldn't be too surprised if it gets in Best Picture.
No, you're right. Again, it got SAG loved it. Obviously, it got 3. So the actors branch loves them, but I don't know if that's enough to propel it.
I don't know. I feel like the thing that sold that fate was like, it's me, Paolo. Like I feel like that part. I feel like that part just sealed that movie's fate.
Can we
Yeah.
just create
Sounds
a song?
like I'm
We
going
don't
to
talk
really
about
enjoy this
Paulo?
movie. For the
Can we
more
just come up with a new song called "We Don't Talk About Paulo"?
We don't talk about Paolo. No, we don't talk about Paolo. Malcolm, you need to see House of Gucci whenever it comes out to New Zealand. Please.
I mean,
would love to hear your
it
thoughts.
came out on New Year's Day. I just haven't had a chance to see
Don't
it.
Go see
don't
it.
watch it. Don't
See it.
It's painful.
I mean, like I've got a
You
list
gotta
at
see
at the moment, the movie that I really want to see before it disappears from theaters is West Side Story. That's kind of top of my
Okay.
list at the moment.
Fair. That's fair. All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we went way too long on that, but I was expecting 2 hours. We did 2:30. You know what? It's always longer than we expect it to be.
Just like the Oscars.
Yes, just like the Oscars. Malcolm, where can the good people find you as we wrap things up here? And also, what is one film, once again, that we did not mention that you want people to check out for the Gone with the Wind Awards?
Well, like as I said, like the one movie I want to see, French Dispatch, because that's a really good movie. And if you're outside of America, it's on Disney Plus right now. I don't know if it's on Disney Plus in America, but I don't know. It might be on Hulu, but and you can find me on Take 3 in about an hour. Frank, as we go through the top 12 Clint Eastwood directed movies. And I predict Space Jam 2 is going to get a lot of Razzie nominations because I think those nominations come out the day before the Oscar nominations.
You are correct, and I can't wait to see that. Dan, where can they find you, and what is another film or aspect of a film that you want to highlight for the Gone with the Wind Award?
You can find me at disappointmentmedia.com where I write about all kinds of things. Retrospectives. We're doing a Criterion Voyages section. I'm doing if somebody passes away, I'll do a movie about that person's career. I'm doing all kinds of movies. I'm just TV shows. I just did my Jack Reacher review. Also, if I'm not writing for disappointmentmedia.com, I'm also writing on my personal blog called fromthefourthrow.wordpress.com. So I'm writing all kinds of things. I just did Slam Dance Film Festival capsule reviews, Sundance capsule reviews. So I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Moonfall. My Moonfall review is out if you want to read about the moon falling down to the planet Earth. I'll have my Death on the Nile review out this week. Also, my name, Dan Skip Allen, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, or DP Skip Allen, or From the Fourth Row, whatever. I have a lot of different handles in various social media places. So, but mainly disappointmentmedia.com.
All right. And Sean, what about you? Where can they find you? And of course, what is a movie or aspect of a film that you want to highlight?
Oh, wait. I want to say Ben Affleck.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah.
The Tender Bar. Everybody go find a way to watch The Tender Bar. I think he's fantastic in that.
Mm-hmm. And Sean, now you may go.
Yeah. So I'm the editor-in-chief of Disappointment Media, so I am Dan's boss in that regard. So you can find my writing there. I write about a lot of stuff as well. I do a lot of festival coverage. I'm on that beat. On Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, I'm at Big Tuna on Film. And then the film I'd like to highlight is going to be a more obscure one this time. It is a Georgian film called What Do We See When We Look at the Sky? It is on Mubi. It is a brilliant international film with some of the best cinematography I saw last year. So yeah, and definitely check that out. It's something that people probably haven't seen. So you should give it a chance.
I'm going to give that a chance then before I vote in the Gone with the Wind Awards, because that sounds utterly fascinating. With a recommendation like that, I am definitely going to check that one out.
It is also 3 hours.
Oh, well, you know what? Hey, I'll make time. I'll find the time.
Yes.
And you can find me at Twitter at Cine_man. That's CINE_MANN, as well as on WFY News 2 for our segment News 2 Reviews, where I review a movie segment every week. Not this past week. We took a week because we did Sundance the week prior, and that was a movie review a day. So you can check that out, and that's on our YouTube. And for our Sundance report section. And as well, you can find me on Letterboxd at Manning_Franks. Yeah, go vote in our Gone with the Win Awards. Currently, that's transpiring right now. You can find the link in the description down below. Go do that. And I will continue to put that on Twitter, on our Facebook group, and Take 3 Productions. You can find it where basically almost wherever you can find me, because I will be putting that link out for you all to vote. It's going to be 2 weeks from today, this Saturday. So look forward to that when we ultimately have to reveal the nominations in 2 weeks. Thank you guys for joining us here. You can follow us on Gone with the Wind at Apple Podcasts and Spotify or Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as right here on Take 3 Productions. I can breathe now. Thank you guys. And go watch Mass. We talked about it a lot here. Go watch Mass. That's the one I want to highlight. It's just good. Get Jason Isaacs in and out. You know what? Put everything in there. Thank you guys.